Chapter 1452. On the counter, there was a pile of emperor-level spiritual weapons. There were at least a dozen of them. The white-haired elders were also slightly stunned. Lu Ming's expression was calm. He had killed many opponents in the great emperor's mystic realm. These people were all geniuses. Many of them had emperor-level spiritual weapons in their hands. Lu Ming still had quite a number of emperor-level spiritual weapons in his hands. What he took out were all useless to him. There were hammer-type weapons, axe-type weapons, and ring-type emperor spirit weapons. These spiritual weapons were equivalent to scrap metal in Lu Ming's hands. It was better to hand them over to the sect in exchange for useful resources. There are a total of 15 emperor-level spiritual weapons, worth 15 million mid-grade primal stones. Do you want to exchange them for primal stones or sect contribution points? The white-haired elder asked. Exchange them with sect contribution points. Lu Ming said. There were quite a number of mid-grade primal stones in the storage rings of the opponents he had killed. It was enough for Lu Ming to use for a period of time. If he exchanged them for sect contribution points, he could exchange them for other treasures. All right, we will register them. Do you have any other treasures to hand over? The white-haired elder asked again. Yes. Lu Ming nodded. His palms glowed. This time, 2 weapons appeared. One of them was a battle sword. When the battle sword appeared, there was a shocking sword chi that pierced through the clouds. The other was a palm-sized knife. There was a green mist on it, and a disgusting stench was emitted. It was frightening. Sacred weapons. 2 sacred weapons! Someone exclaimed. Everyone's gaze fell on the 2 sacred weapons. Some people's gazes were burning with passion. It's actually a sacred weapon. It seems like the harvest in the great emperor's mystic realm is really bountiful. Who is this person? He should be from another continent. He actually obtained 2 sacred weapons. It's really a great opportunity. Many people discussed and were extremely envious. The great emperor's mystic realm was something that could only be found by chance. It was a pity that one's cultivation was below that of a martial emperor. Most people had surpassed that realm. The eyes of the white-haired elders also lit up. This was the first time someone had taken out a saint weapon and handed it in. These 2 items are bright saint weapons. They are 100 times more valuable than emperor weapons. Do you want to exchange them for contribution points or mid-grade origin stones? The white-haired old man took the 2 sacred weapons and examined them carefully before asking. Convert them all into contribution points. Lu Ming said. All right, 2 bright saint weapons plus 15 emperor-grade spirit weapons. A total of 2. 15 million sect contribution points. Do you have anything else you want to hand over? After the white-haired old man finished speaking, he looked at Lu Ming with some hope. No more. Lu Ming shook his head. More than 2 million contribution points should be enough for a period of time. That can't be right. Lu Ming, the treasures you obtained shouldn't be limited to just these, right? At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Without looking, Lu Ming could tell that it was Yin Feng's voice. Lu Ming coldly glanced at Yin Feng and said, I have nothing to hand over. Nothing? Who are you trying to fool? Where is your wing-shaped sacred weapon? Where are your other treasures? You should have obtained quite a lot. Why don't you take them out and hand them over to the sect? Yin Feng sneered. I do have other treasures, but I can use them myself. Elder Hong also said that I can keep whatever I can use. If you have treasures that you can use, will you hand them over? Lu Ming sneered and asked. Of course I will. I am wholeheartedly devoted to the sect. Yin Feng said. Oh, I forgot. A trash like you can't obtain any treasures. Naturally, you are willing to hand them over. Lu Ming said in disdain. You. Who are you calling trash? Yin Feng was furious. Aren't you? Do you want to fight with me to prove that you are not trash? Lu Ming said. Yin Feng was speechless. He was clear about Lu Ming's battle strength. It was extremely terrifying. If they were to fight, he would only be tortured by Lu Ming. You don't even dare to fight. If you are not trash, then what are you? Lu Ming said in disdain. Yin Feng was trembling with anger, but he could not refute. Lu Ming, I remember that you have obtained a break sage pill. You don't need it now. Why don't you hand it over? At this moment, Hiyu, who was standing beside Yin Feng, said coldly, What, a break sage pill? At this moment, the entire place became extremely quiet. Countless pairs of eyes stared intently at Lu Ming. Many people had a burning glow in their eyes. A break sage pill. Lu Ming had obtained a break sage pill. Phew, some people's breathing had even become heavy. There were many people around the square. Many of them were peak martial emperors, but they were stuck at the peak of the martial emperor realm, unable to break through. Some of them were at the end of their lifespan. The break sage pill was too tempting for them. If this was not the divine Dragon Valley, where there were martial emperors, some of them would have already snatched it. Lu Ming frowned. This move of Hiyu's was extremely sinister. If he did not hand in the breakthrough sage elixir, there would be countless pairs of eyes in the Dragon Divine Valley staring at him. In the future, unless Lu Ming did not step out of the Dragon Divine Valley, who knew if someone would secretly make a move on him? This move was ruthless. Lu Ming, since you have the sheng-breaking elixir, why don't you hand it over and contribute to the sect? You have no use for such a treasure now. Moreover, you might die at any time. Wouldn't such a treasure be wasted? Yin Feng shouted. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He then ignored Yin Feng and Hiyu and bowed to the white-haired old men. Seniors, I have nothing to hand over. Can I register it? Sure, register it. The white-haired old man said. Lu Ming nodded and was about to register it. Wait. At this moment, a voice came from afar. Then, an old man in a silver robe appeared in the sky. Elder Hong and the other white-haired old men's faces changed when they saw the old man in the silver robe. They stood up and bowed. Greetings, Valley Master Yinlong. Many people around the square bowed to him. What? Valley Master Yinlong? Valley Master Yinlong of the 7 Great Valleys? In the middle of the square, the young men who had not officially become disciples of the divine Dragon Valley were shocked. The Valley Masters of the 7 Great Dragon Valleys were important figures who stood at the peak of the divine Dragon Valley. Even in the vast Song continent, they were top figures. Now, Valley Master Yinlong of the 7 Great Dragon Valleys had come personally. Grandfather, Yin Feng shouted in surprise when he saw Valley Master Yinlong. Many people gasped when they saw him. Yin Feng's grandfather was Valley Master Yinlong. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. Yin Feng's background was beyond his imagination. Valley Master Yinlong landed on the ground and nodded. What happened just now? It's him, that kid from the uncivilized island. He obtained a treasure in the great emperor's secret realm and wanted to take it for himself. He has no use for a treasure like the break sage pill now. Chapter 1453. Moreover, he is the only one who has entered the core of Emperor Tsong's palace. I suspect that he has obtained Emperor Tsong's treasures or his legacy. Hiyu added fuel to the fire. What? Emperor Tsong's legacy? His words were like a bomb that caused an uproar among the crowd. Many people looked at Lu Ming in shock. Even Valley Head Silver Dragon's eyes shone with a fiery light. If the breakthrough sage elixir was only tempting to the peak martial royal realm experts, the Emperor Tsong's treasures and legacy would be tempting even to the Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley. I have already said that I have not obtained Emperor Tsong's legacy. I have already proven this in front of the experts of the various sections. Elder Hong is here to prove my words. Lu Ming said, That's right. Lu Ming has not obtained Emperor Tsong's legacy. Elder Hong said, Emperor Tsang's legacy is very important. I suggest that Lu Ming hand over everything for us to check. Lastly, we will search his soul. This is the only way to ensure that nothing goes wrong. Yin Feng said loudly with a vicious look in his eyes. Ha ha ha. At that moment, Lu Ming laughed out loud and said, I have already said that I have not obtained the legacy. Elder Hong has also proven this. Moreover, I have already said that those who enter the Emperor's secret realm can hand over any treasures they find. Now, you are forcing me to hand them over. Is this how Dragon God Valley treats their disciples? This is so disappointing. How dare you? The Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley shouted coldly and said, You're just a reserved disciple. How dare you talk about the Dragon God Valley? How audacious. Feng, R is right, I need to search your soul to make sure. Having said that, the Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley stepped forward and locked his aura on Lu Ming. Lu Ming realized that he could not move his body at all. It was as if he was frozen in place. Yin Zhang, you are already so old and you are a Valley Master. Don't you find it embarrassing to treat a junior in this manner? At that moment, a gentle voice resounded in the area. As the voice resounded, Lu Ming suddenly felt his body relax and he regained his freedom. Many people were shocked. Who dared to speak to Valley Master Silver Dragon like that? Valley Master Silver Dragon frowned and looked at the sky. In the sky, two figures stepped on the air and flew over. It was an old man with a gentle smile on his face. Behind the old man was a middle-aged man, Senior Long Yuan Shan. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The middle-aged man following behind the old man was Long Yuan Shan. Greetings, Valley Master Yun Long. Many people bowed when they saw this old man. Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Another Valley Master had arrived. The Silver Dragon Valley Master stared at the Cloud Dragon Valley Master and said, What? Do you want to be a busybody? What do you mean meddling in other people's business? This little guy is right. How can my Dragon God Valley treat its disciples like this? It is up to him whether he wants to hand it over or not. To be honest, let's not talk about the fact that this brat did not obtain Emperor Tsang's inheritance. Even if he did, it is up to him whether he wants to hand it over or not. Our divine Dragon Valley only needs to ensure his growth. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said calmly, What if I forcibly search your soul? The Silver Dragon Valley Master asked. You can give it a try. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes flashed and a mysterious aura emanated from his body. The Silver Dragon Valley Master looked at the Cloud Dragon Valley Master with a serious expression. After a while, he looked at Elder Hong and asked, Elder Hong, are you sure that this brat did not obtain Emperor Tsang's inheritance? He can't have it because Emperor Tsang is not dead. Elder Hong said. What? The Silver Dragon Valley Master was shocked. Not only him, but everyone present was also shocked. Emperor Tsang was not dead. These 4 words were too shocking and could explain everything. After a while, the scene slowly quietened down. Let's continue. The Silver Dragon Valley Master waved his hand and walked to a chair at the side and sat down. Continue. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master also sat down. Little guy, register your name. The white-haired old man said to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded and registered his name before walking down the stage. Then, one by one, they went up to hand over their treasures. Just like that, 2 days and 2 nights passed, and the task of handing over their treasures was finally over. Next was the second task, which was to choose one of the 7 Dragon Valleys to join. An elder from each Dragon Valley came and set up a counter in the square. Here, each elder represents a Dragon Valley. If you want to join a Dragon Valley, go forward and register. Elder Hong pointed at the 7 counters. The 7 counters each had a symbol that represented a different Dragon Valley. However, the Silver Dragon Valley and the Cloud Dragon Valley were special. The other Dragon Valleys sent their elders, and only the valley masters of these two dragon valleys came personally. I want to join the Ice Dragon Valley. Someone stepped forward and walked toward the Ice Dragon Valley. Let me see your spiritual body, the elder of the Ice Dragon Valley said. This young man emitted a cold aura, and the faint roar of a dragon could be heard. Yes, it's the Ice Dragon war body. You can join. The elder of the Ice Dragon Valley nodded and registered the young man's information. Senior, I want to join the Purple Dragon Valley. I want to join the Black Dragon Valley. The young men stepped forward and chose the Dragon Valley they wanted to join. Yin Feng naturally joined the Silver Dragon Valley. You had joined the Blood Dragon Valley. Senior, I want to join the Cloud Dragon Valley. A young man walked to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master and said respectfully. Unexpectedly, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master shook his head and said, You're not suitable for the Cloud Dragon Valley. Go. Many people were stunned. The Cloud Dragon Valley would not accept them. As long as their spiritual bodies were suitable, the other Dragon Valleys would accept them. This was because these young men had been tested for their talents and were very good. They were qualified to join the Divine Dragon Valley, but the Cloud Dragon Valley would not accept them. You don't know, right? The Cloud Dragon Valley only has a little over 100 people and is the weakest among the 7 Dragon Valleys. Naturally, the number of people joining is the least. Also, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master has a strange way of accepting people. He doesn't accept ordinary people and only accepts people based on his mood. A local disciple explained. Accepts based on his mood? Many people were speechless. As expected, a few more people wanted to join the Cloud Dragon Valley, but were rejected by the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Lu Ming, which Dragon Valley do you want to join? Qiu Yingying asked. I don't know yet. Lu Ming shook his head. He had not decided yet. His spiritual body was the Divine Dragon Battle Body. To be honest, he could join any Dragon Valley. As for his domain, it was the Chaotic Domain. It would not matter if he joined any Dragon Valley. However, he had already excluded the Silver Dragon Valley and the Blood Dragon Valley. He would not join these 2 Dragon Valleys. The remaining Dragon Valleys were fine. You don't know. Lu Ming, I'll go and register. I want to join the Ice Dragon Valley. Qiu Yingying said. Go. Chapter 1454. Qiu Yingying and Qiu had similar physiques and had joined Ice Dragon Valley. As for the 3 Yuan brothers, they had joined Red Dragon Valley. Everyone present had joined the 7 Dragon Valleys. This time, there were more than 20,000 people who had entered the Great Emperor Mystic Realm. However, only 12,000 people had come out. More than half of them had stayed in the Great Emperor Mystic Realm forever. 12,000 people. Up until now, other than Cloud Dragon Valley, the other 6 Dragon Valleys each had more than 1,000 people. Only Cloud Dragon Valley had no one. Many people looked at each other. Cloud Dragon Valley was really strange. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master had come personally, but had not accepted a single disciple. At this moment, Lu Ming stepped out and walked towards the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. This kid wants to join Cloud Dragon Valley. Yin Feng's eyes flashed. He did not want Lu Ming to join Cloud Dragon Valley. This was because, given his status, he had friends in the other 6 Dragon Valleys. If Lu Ming were to join them, he had 100 ways to kill Lu Ming. However, if Lu Ming were to join Cloud Dragon Valley, it would be troublesome. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master has always accepted disciples based on his mood. I hope he will not accept Lu Ming as his disciple. Yin Feng thought to himself. Around the square, many people looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming had a treasure like the Break Sage elixir on him. Naturally, he would be the center of attention. Senior, I am Lu Ming. I would like to join Cloud Dragon Valley. Lu Ming walked in front of the Cloud Dragon Valley Master and bowed. Joining Cloud Dragon Valley was Lu Ming's final decision. Firstly, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's motto was to be free. Lu Ming liked this very much. Also, Long Yuanshan was in Cloud Dragon Valley. Long Yuanshan's character was not bad. Lu Ming had a good impression of Long Yuanshan. Furthermore, Long Yuanshan and the Cloud Dragon Valley Master had both helped Lu Ming. Therefore, Lu Ming chose to join Cloud Dragon Valley. As for the fact that Cloud Dragon Valley was the weakest, he did not even consider it. He had come to the Yuan continent to cultivate. As long as he had a stable environment to cultivate in, he would be fine. You really want to join the Cloud Dragon Valley? Have you thought it through? The Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley smiled and did not reject him directly like the others. Many people's hearts stirred. Could it be that the Cloud Dragon Valley Master was going to take Lu Ming in? Junior has thought it through. Lu Ming said firmly, "All right, welcome to the Cloud Dragon Valley." The Cloud Dragon Valley Master smiled and agreed. "Thank you, Senior." Lu Ming bowed to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. "Little guy, your name is Lu Ming, right? Are you willing to take this old man as your master and become this old man's 9th true disciple?" The Cloud Dragon Valley Master spoke again. His words shocked everyone present. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master actually took the initiative to accept Lu Ming as a true disciple? This guy is really lucky. Yin Feng gritted his teeth. If Lu Ming became the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's true disciple, it would be even more troublesome for him to deal with Lu Ming. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was famous for being protective, and his strength was extremely terrifying. Even his grandfather, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master, was wary of the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. The other youths present looked at Lu Ming enviously. What kind of honor and opportunity was it to be accepted as a disciple by a Valley Master? Even though the Cloud Dragon Valley was the weakest among the 7 Dragon Valleys, he was still a Valley Master, and his cultivation was unfathomable. Lu Ming was also stunned. He had not expected the Cloud Dragon Valley Master to accept him as a true disciple. "Little guy, what do you think? If you are not willing, I will not force you," the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said warmly. Disciple Lu Ming greets Master. After pondering for a while, Lu Ming bowed. He had just arrived in the Yuan continent and needed a backer. This would be of great help to his cultivation in the future. "Great, ha ha ha!" The Cloud Dragon Valley Master laughed when he saw Lu Ming agree. "This guy, I don't know what kind of luck he has to be accepted as a disciple by the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. He is just a lowly ant from a desolate island. I don't know what the Cloud Dragon Valley Master sees in him." Some of the local youths were so envious that their eyes turned red and they spoke with disdain. If his talent is not good enough, it is useless to have a good master. He will still be trampled by others in the future. Someone said sourly. Some are unhappy and some are happy. Chiu Yingying, Chiu Hao, and the Wan brothers were truly happy for Lu Ming. All right. At that moment, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master stood up and scanned the crowd. He said, "My disciple might have some treasures on him after entering the Emperor's secret realm. That is his opportunity. I don't care about the competition between peers. If any old man dares to do anything to him, don't blame me for my bad temper." The Cloud Dragon Valley Master had always been a gentle person. However, at that moment, a cold aura emanated from him. The entire square was filled with a terrifying aura. Some of the peak martial royal realm experts felt as if there was a huge rock on their chests and they could not breathe properly. Forget about the break sage pill. Many people laughed bitterly in their hearts. Previously, there were many people who coveted Lu Ming's sheng-breaking elixir. However, the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley was famous for being protective of his own people. Moreover, he was very powerful. Those who coveted the sheng-breaking elixir put aside their thoughts. Compared to the break sage pill, their lives were more important. "Haha, Lu Ming, no, 9th junior brother, congratulations. We are brothers from now on." Long Yuanshan laughed loudly. "Greetings, senior brother." Lu Ming bowed to Long Yuanshan. "I am Master's second disciple. You can call me second senior brother. Long Yuanshan laughed. All right, let's go back to the Cloud Dragon Valley. After saying that, the Cloud Dragon Valley master stepped into the air and left. The disciple recruitment was not over yet. However, after the Cloud Dragon Valley master had accepted Lu Ming as his core disciple, he did not want to accept any more and left immediately. Ninth junior brother, let's go to the Cloud Dragon Valley. Long Yuanshan grinned and was extremely forthright. He then followed the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley and stepped into the air. Lu Ming followed, closely behind. They were not heading towards the outer valley but the deep snow mountain. As they walked in the air, snow fell from the sky. At a glance, huge snow mountains rose from the ground, and one could not see the end of them. Dragon God Valley, it snows all year round, not stopping for a single day. It's really amazing. Legend has it that there's a terrifying ice dragon sleeping in the depths of the Great Snow Mountain, which caused such a phenomenon. That terrifying ice dragon is the guardian beast of Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as a legend came to his mind. Below them, huge snowy mountains flashed past. Suddenly, a huge glacier valley appeared in front of them. This glacial canyon was quite unique. Above it were misty clouds, and snowflakes were falling from the clouds, making the entire glacial canyon look like a snowy wonderland. Yuanshan, bring Ming, to a cave residence. Ming, I must be tired after entering the great emperor's secret realm. Let's rest first. Chapter 1455. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was carefree and casual. He left as he pleased and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming was speechless. Ninth junior brother, Master is like this. He's casual, but he treats his disciples extremely well. Long Yuanchuan smiled at Lu Ming and explained. Second senior brother, I heard that there are only 100 disciples in the Cloud Dragon Valley. Is that true? Lu Ming asked curiously. That's right. There are only 120 people in the Cloud Dragon Valley, including Master. The other valleys have a lot of disciples, deacons, and elders. However, there are no elders in the Cloud Dragon Valley. We only have Master and his 9 true disciples. The rest are ordinary disciples. Long Yuanchuan said, No elders? Is there only Master among the older generation? Lu Ming was even more curious. Yes, because there were only 6 valleys in the Divine Dragon Valley in the past. Each valley had a long history, and there was no Cloud Dragon Valley. Cloud Dragon Valley was founded by Master. Long Yuanshan said, Founded by Master? Lu Ming was shocked. He was very curious about this Master that he had just acknowledged. Lu Ming knew that it was extremely difficult to establish an independent valley in a large sect like the Divine Dragon Valley. He was afraid that countless people would oppose it. However, the Valley Master of the Cloud Dragon Valley could do it. He was definitely not simple. Ninth junior brother, let's go. I'll bring you to your place of residence. Long Yuanshan said and stepped forward. Lu Ming followed. The Cloud Dragon Valley was huge and spacious, but there were only 100 or so people. After flying for a while, they finally met 2 young men. Greetings, senior brother. The 2 young men bowed when they saw Long Yuanshan. You're welcome. Let me introduce you. This is Master's new true disciple. Long Yuanshan pointed at Lu Ming and introduced. The Valley Master's new disciple. The 2 young men looked at Lu Ming curiously and bowed. Greetings, senior brother. Ah, senior brother? Lu Ming was stunned. Ninth junior brother. They are ordinary disciples of the Cloud Dragon Valley. They address us as senior brothers. Long Yuanshan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. So that's how it is. There's no need for such formalities. Lu Ming smiled. Go ahead. With a wave of his hand, Long Yuanshan led Lu Ming deeper into the canyon. The deeper they went, the thicker the yuan qi became. Of Master's 9 disciples, other than the two of us, some are in seclusion, some are cultivating outside, and some are carrying out missions. If there's a chance in the future, I'll introduce them to you one by one." As they walked, Long Yuan Shan explained the situation of the Cloud Dragon Valley. Soon, they arrived in front of a huge ice cave. The entrance to this ice cave was tightly shut. "Junior brother, this cave is yours from now on. There is a formation at the entrance. I'll teach you how to control it." Long Yuan Shan took out a jade talisman and handed it over to Lu Ming. "Thank you, second senior." Lu Ming cupped his fists. "Ninth junior brother, familiarize yourself with it. I estimate that Master will summon you in a few days." Long Yuan Shan smiled and walked away. Lu Ming picked up the jade talisman and scanned it with his spiritual sense. He memorized the method in the jade talisman. At the entrance, there was a simple formation that only required true origin to control. Lu Ming stepped forward and true origin spread out. With a click, the entrance to the ice cave opened. Lu Ming stepped in. Then he controlled the formation and the entrance closed. Lu Ming carefully looked around the cave. The cave was huge. There was an ice bed, an ice table, an ice chair, etc. Lu Ming took a closer look and found that something was wrong. This was not ordinary ice, but ice jade. It was crystal clear and emitted a slight chill. Cultivating here could help to temper one's spiritual body. In addition, there was more than one bedroom in the ice cave. There were other ice rooms that were connected by passageways. Lu Ming looked around and found that there were more than 10 ice rooms. One of the ice rooms had a trickle of spring water that did not freeze. Lu Ming was very satisfied with this cave. The heaven and earth origin chi here was several times richer than in the outer valley. "Let's count the gains this time." Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the ice jade bed. With a wave of his hand, he took out all the storage rings he had obtained this time. On the way back, Lu Ming just casually counted them. He sorted out the middle grade origin stones, spirit herbs, spirit weapons, etc. As for the spirit herbs, Lu Ming kept them all in the mountain river diagram for Dandan and Bubbles to eat. Finally, Lu Ming kept the most valuable items in a storage ring. This time, Lu Ming had gained a lot from this trip to the great emperor's mystic realm. Some spirit herbs and refining materials, not to mention sacred herb, ancient heavenly sap tree, heavenly law stones, more than 200 pieces. Sacred weapons, Lu Ming took out 2 to exchange for contribution points. There were 3 left. One was the black feather wings, another was the shield that Qiuhao had given him, and the third was a jade bracelet. Lu Ming planned to give it to Xian Yinqing. In addition, there were 3 Emperor Region fruits and 1 Saint breakthrough pill. Most importantly, Emperor Tsong had given him a storage ring. This was the storage ring of a great emperor. Just thinking about it made Lu Ming's heart pound. It was a pity that he had lost his lightning cauldron. That was a sacred weapon. In Emperor Tsong's chamber, Emperor Tsong seemed to have used the lightning cauldron to suppress the soul extinguisher Dharma King. However, the soul extinguisher Dharma King had obviously recovered more than Emperor Tsong. The 2 of them had entered the depths of the void. It was still unknown who would win this battle. Perhaps Emperor Tsong would never appear again. Therefore, Lu Ming most likely would not be able to get his lightning cauldron back. Fortunately, with Emperor Tsong's storage ring as compensation, Lu Ming felt a little better. Let's see what's in Emperor Tsong's storage ring. Are there any emperor weapons? Emperor pills? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He picked up the storage ring and poured his true yuan into it. Lu Ming was stunned. He couldn't open it. Continue. He gritted his teeth and continued to increase his true yuan, but he still couldn't open it. I'll continue. After a while, Lu Ming gave up. Damn it, there's Emperor Tsong's mark on this storage ring. With my cultivation, I can't break this mark at all. Lu Ming wanted to howl at the sky. He was so depressed that he was about to vomit blood. He couldn't eat the fat meat in his mouth. This reminded Lu Ming of the time when he had just started cultivating and obtained a king's storage ring. He couldn't open it either because he wasn't strong enough. The situation was so similar, but this time Lu Ming was even more depressed. This was a great emperor's storage ring. He had exchanged his sacred weapon, the lightning cauldron. Lu Ming was unwilling to give up. He tried a few more times, but in the end he could only give up helplessly. His cultivation wasn't enough to break Emperor Tsang's mark. If he wanted to slowly break it, he wouldn't be able to do it without the cultivation of a saint realm. Lu Ming despised Emperor Tsang for a long time, since he gave the storage ring to him. Why didn't he remove the mark on it? Lu Ming had no choice but to keep Emperor Tsang's storage ring. Then, with a flash, the black wings appeared on his back. Lu Ming was ready to refine the black wings again. In the future, Lu Ming would have to refine the black wings frequently. This way, the power of the sacred weapon could be slowly unleashed. A day later, Lu Ming sacrificially refined the black feather wings again and put them away. Chapter 1456. Just like that, another 2 days passed. Lu Ming refined the shield and the soul spirit defense armor, one after another. The shield flew into Lu Ming's forehead and disappeared, floating in his divine sense. As for the spiritual god defensive armor, it entered the dantian and covered the spiritual god's entire body. The spiritual god was now wearing a jade armor. After refining these treasures, Lu Ming took out 3 royal realm fruits, planning to refine them to improve his cultivation. A low-level martial dominator realm fruit could improve their cultivation by 1 layer after refining it. It was extremely precious. However, Lu Ming practiced the chaotic domain, thus he was not confident. He opened his mouth and swallowed one of the royal realm fruits before refining it. A day later, after refining the royal realm fruit, Lu Ming shook his head and let out a wry smile. Indeed, it was impossible for others to improve their cultivation by 1 layer after refining 1 royal realm fruit. His cultivation remained at the 1st layer martial dominator realm. Continue. Following this, Lu Ming took out another royal realm fruit and began refining it. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming had refined all 3 royal realm fruits, but his cultivation had only reached the peak of the 1st layer martial dominator realm. He had not even broken through to the 2nd layer martial dominator realm. The chaotic domain is indeed difficult to improve. 3 royal realm fruits can only help me reach the peak of the 1st layer martial dominator realm. Lu Ming let out a wry smile. However, it was not bad to reach the peak of the 1st layer martial dominator realm. Once the opportunity came, Lu Ming would be able to break through to the 2nd layer martial dominator realm. Now that I have reached the martial dominator realm, it's time to practice a domain martial skill. Lu Ming thought to himself. After his trip to the martial emperor's secret ground, he realized that his attacks were too simple. Most of the time, he relied on the hell-suppressing heaven skill and the chaotic domain to crush his opponents. The hell-suppressing heaven skill, combined with the hell-suppressing monument's bloodline, was extremely powerful. It was enough to unleash a terrifying power in the martial dominator realm. However, it was too simple to use the hell-suppressing heaven skill alone. As for the primal chaos-flipping sky seal, although it was extremely powerful, it also consumed a lot of energy. It could be used as a trump card and could not be used normally. Therefore, Lu Ming needed to cultivate an offensive domain martial technique. As for movement techniques, he didn't need them for the time being. Firstly, even though the wind origin art was only a conceptualized battle technique, when paired with the wind frozen pearl and the black wings, his speed would be astonishing. Secondly, the 9 dragons heaven stomping steps. Although it was not a domain martial technique, after Lu Ming cultivated the 9th step, its power was still shocking, especially when combined with the dragon god battle body. Therefore, there was no need for him to cultivate any movement techniques for the time being. It was mainly about attacking. Moreover, Lu Ming wanted to cultivate a technique that would allow him to unleash the power of a spirit weapon or even a saint weapon. When Lu Ming executed the hell-suppressing heaven skill, he would generally fight with his physical body. Even if he had an emperor-level spirit weapon or a sacred weapon, it would be useless. For example, if his opponent was a swordsman and held a sacred weapon and fought with him, his opponent would have the additional power of the sacred weapon while he did not. Wouldn't he be at a disadvantage? What kind of domain martial technique should I cultivate? Lu Ming pondered. The memory fragments of the 9 dragons contain many domain martial techniques. In the chaotic domain, other than some very special domains that couldn't be transformed, all other domains could be transformed. For example, the spear domain, the sword domain, therefore, Lu Ming could cultivate these types of domain martial techniques. 13 strikes. After a while, Lu Ming chose a domain martial technique. The 13 strikes was a spear art. When Lu Ming's cultivation was still low, he had always used a spear. Therefore, he still had a soft spot for spears. However, later on, when his cultivation was high, there was no suitable spear art. The hell-suppressing heaven art was powerful, so Lu Ming slowly stopped using spear art. Moreover, the power of the 13 strikes made Lu Ming quite satisfied. The 13 strikes used the spear domain as the foundation. Using the spear, the attacks were like a storm, one after another. When cultivated to the highest level, the spear could continuously erupt with 13 waves of power. The destructive power was astonishing. Swoosh! In the next moment, a spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Infinite Dragon Spear. Buzz! The Infinite Dragon Spear vibrated and let out a loud, buzzing sound. Lu Ming shook his head and sighed. No, the Infinite Dragon Spear's level isn't high enough. Although the second body had refined the Infinite Dragon Spear in the past, allowing it to reach the level of a level 9 spiritual weapon. For Lu Ming's current cultivation, an ordinary level 9 spiritual weapon wouldn't be able to unleash Lu Ming's strength. Instead, it would shatter the spiritual weapon due to the excessive power. I'll wait for the second body to fully recover before slowly refining and upgrading it. Lu Ming thought as he kept the Infinite Dragon Spear. Then, another spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. This spear was an Emperor's spiritual weapon that Lu Ming had obtained in the Great Emperor's secret realm. Buzz! The spear vibrated and made a buzzing sound. Lu Ming was quite satisfied. If there's a chance, I'll get a sacred weapon spear and a pair of sacred weapon gloves. Lu Ming thought, with a pair of sacred weapon gloves, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage when using the suppressing Hell Heaven skill. Immediately, Lu Ming carefully comprehended the mysteries of the 13 stored power strikes. But soon, Lu Ming received a message from Long Yuan Shan. Long Yuan Shan was looking for him. When he opened the door of the cave dwelling, he saw Long Yuan Shan standing outside. "Ninth junior brother, Master is looking for you," Long Yuan Shan said. Lu Ming nodded. He had been in seclusion for 7 days. It was time for the Cloud Dragon Valley Master to look for him. Lu Ming followed Long Yuan Shan into the depths of the Cloud Dragon Valley. Soon, they arrived at the end of the Cloud Dragon Valley. There was a cave dwelling here. After entering the cave dwelling, they saw the Cloud Dragon Valley Master sitting on an ice platform. "Master, 9th junior brother is here. I'll take my leave." Long Yuan Shan bowed and then left the place. "Disciple greets Master." Lu Ming bowed to the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master smiled and nodded. He glanced at Lu Ming and said, "Not bad. Your cultivation has reached the peak of the first layer martial emperor realm. Your foundation is solid. You will be able to break through to the second layer martial emperor realm soon." Lu Ming did not say anything. He only listened quietly. "Ming, show me your domain. Let me have a look," the Cloud Dragon Valley Master said. Lu Ming nodded and unleashed the chaotic domain without hesitation. There was no need to hide the chaotic domain. He would unleash it whenever he encountered a strong enemy. Those with good eyesight would be able to recognize it. As expected, the primal chaos domain spread out. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes widened as he exclaimed, "Primal chaos domain!" It was obvious that the Cloud Dragon Valley Master was extremely shocked. After a while, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master finally calmed down and began to ponder with a frown. After more than 10 minutes, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master spoke again. "Ming, I didn't expect you to be so talented. You have mastered the legendary chaotic domain." Chapter 1457. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and rubbed his nose. The Valley Master had said that he had nothing to teach Lu Ming in the future. It seemed like he was destined to explore on his own. "Ming, you have to be careful. The stronger the domain, the harder it will be to cultivate it. Especially when breaking through to the next realm, it will be more difficult. It is the same for the chaotic domain. So you have to spend more time on the chaotic domain in the future." After pondering for a moment, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master warned seriously. Lu Ming nodded. He had already noticed this. "Also, from today onwards, you can enter any place in the Cloud Dragon Valley as you wish, including my library. There are all the cultivation experiences that I've accumulated along the way. You can go and comprehend them. Who knows? They might be of some help to you." The Valley Master said, "Thank you, Master." Lu Ming was overjoyed and bowed to express his gratitude. He could enter any place in the Cloud Dragon Valley and the Valley Master's cultivation experience. The Valley Master's cultivation was unfathomable. Lu Ming estimated that he was definitely not a bright sage. He might have surpassed the bright sage realm. The cultivation experience of such a person was definitely precious. If Lu Ming were to comprehend it, it would be of great help to his cultivation. At this moment, a jade token appeared in the Valley Master's hand and said, "This is your identity token. It contains your information and your contribution points. Take a look and see if it is correct." Lu Ming took the identity token and inserted his true yuan into it. A row of information appeared in his mind. It was his basic information. In the contribution points column, he had 15 million contribution points. It was the contribution points that he had exchanged for the sect treasure. There was no mistake about it. Lu Ming kept the identity token. "Ming, there is one thing that you have to take note of. Although I have accepted you as a core disciple, and you have joined the Cloud Dragon Valley, the Cloud Dragon Valley is a part of the Divine Dragon Valley. So, for the first 2 years, you will still have to listen to the arrangements of the Divine Dragon Valley and complete some basic tasks. After 2 years, you will not have to do any tasks and can choose for yourself." The Valley Master said, Lu Ming nodded. This was very easy to understand. Lu Ming was not too surprised. As a new disciple, it was normal for them to contribute to the sect. "Also, you have offended the people of Silver Dragon Valley. Those guys are narrow-minded. You have to be careful of them during this period of time. Their elders won't dare to interfere. But I won't interfere with the competition between the younger generation. You have to rely on yourself." Finally, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master gave another warning. "Thank you, Master. I will be careful." Lu Ming said, "All right, go ahead." Cloud Dragon Valley Master waved his hand. Lu Ming bowed and then left. 15 million contribution points. I can't waste them. Let's see if there are any true dragon materials for exchange. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. If he had the materials from a true dragon, he would be able to upgrade his dragon god battle body. Lu Ming continued to fly outwards, intending to ask around at the Treasure Dragon Hall. Before he could fly far, a figure blocked in front of Lu Ming. It was a young lady in a snow-white dress. She looked like she was only 18 or 19 years old. She had a graceful figure and was very beautiful, like a fairy that had descended to the mortal world. "Stop!" The young lady opened her arms and blocked in front of Lu Ming. "You are." Lu Ming stopped and asked, "You are the new pro-disciple that Master has accepted?" The young lady blinked her big eyes curiously and looked at Lu Ming carefully. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Judging from her tone, she should be another pro-disciple of the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Lu Ming nodded and said, "That's right. I am the 9th disciple that Master has accepted, Lu Ming." "Haha, it's really you. Quick, call me senior sister." "I am your 8th senior sister, Xuanixin." "I am no longer your junior sister." The young lady almost jumped up and laughed excitedly. This Lu Ming was speechless. It turned out that she was a senior sister, but she was so young. In the end, Lu Ming had no choice but to cup his fists and say, "Greetings, 8th senior sister." "I'm good." Cough, cough. Xuanixin was overjoyed, but she still pretended to be mature. She glanced at Lu Ming and coughed a few times, saying, "Junior brother, follow senior sister in the future. Senior sister will guarantee that you will have a good life." As she spoke, she patted her towering chest, causing it to shake violently. Lu Ming could not help but take a few more glances. However, Xuanixin did not seem to notice it at all. She continued to pat her chest and said, "Junior brother, I heard that your battle strength is not bad. You displayed great prowess in the great Emperor's mystic realm. Come, come, come. Let's spar a few moves." After speaking, she looked at Lu Ming with anticipation. Spar a few moves? Lu Ming was speechless. "That's right. AI, there are too few people in our Cloud Dragon Valley. It's so boring. Those ordinary disciples don't even dare to fight with me. In the past 10 years, Master has only accepted 3 successor disciples. As for the other senior brothers, they're already so old and their cultivation levels are so high. I'm not their match at all. There's also that killing maniac. He's out there training and killing every day." Xuanning mumbled in her heart, but her mouth never stopped talking. Lu Ming was speechless. He quickly interrupted Xuanixin and said, "Senior sister, I have something to do. Next time." After speaking, he was about to leave. "No, it has to be now. Today." "Are you looking down on me?" Xuanixin stared and threw a punch at Lu Ming. Rumble. The punch was so powerful that it caused the space to tremble violently. So strong! Lu Ming was shocked. He did not dare to be careless. The chaotic domain spread out as he threw a punch at Xuanixin. Dong! The 2 fists collided. Lu Ming's body shuddered as he felt a terrifying force surging toward him. His body shuddered, and he was forced to take 9 steps back before he could regain his balance. However, Xuanixin did not move at all. What a terrifying force! Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. Xuanixin's strength was beyond his imagination. Most shockingly, he felt that Xuanixin had only used her physical strength. She did not use much of her true energy. Her physical strength alone was enough to force him to take 9 steps back. Not bad. A first-layer martial royal realm cultivator was able to take a punch from me and only take 9 steps back. Not bad, not bad. Unfortunately, your cultivation is too low, Xuanixin murmured. She looked at Lu Ming curiously and said, "Junior brother, you should work hard on your cultivation. Once your cultivation improves, you can spar with me." With that, without waiting for Lu Ming to speak, he left in a jog. Lu Ming was speechless. This senior sister was too weird. Most importantly, although the other party looked young, he was shockingly powerful. Even Lu Ming was taken aback by this. It seems that there are many geniuses in Yuanlu. Moreover, my cultivation is too low. Lu Ming thought to himself, "Haha, 9th junior brother, don't mind her. That girl is just like that." Chapter 1458. Second Senior Brother. Lu Ming smiled and said, I don't mind. Moreover, 8th senior sister's strength is profound. I admire her very much. 9th junior brother, let me tell you something. Long Yuan Shan smiled mysteriously and said, Actually, 8th junior sister is not human. Not human. Demon? Lu Ming's eyes moved as he whispered. 8th junior sister's true form is a dragon, a pure-blooded true dragon. Long Yuan Shan said. What? A pure-blooded true dragon? Lu Ming was shocked. In the continent of God, Lu Ming had never met a pure-blooded divine beast. The pure-blooded divine beast was only 90% divine beast bloodline. However, 90% divine beast bloodline was not much different from a pure-blooded divine beast bloodline. A pure-blooded divine beast bloodline had an innate advantage and was incomparably powerful. Even a human's innate spiritual body was inferior to a pure-blooded divine beast bloodline, especially a terrifying existence like a true dragon. It was said that a true dragon was born with the strength of a spirit sea realm cultivator. If they did not cultivate, they would naturally grow to adulthood and enter the martial emperor realm. Once they cultivated, their achievements would be even higher. Moreover, after a pure-blooded divine beast bloodline reached the martial emperor realm, their physique would undergo another transformation and become even more terrifying. Of course, true dragons were also differentiated by talent. After entering the martial emperor realm, their physique was also differentiated by strength. Lu Ming felt that Xue Ningxin's physique was definitely not at the level of an inferior earth spiritual body. It had even surpassed the intermediate earth spiritual body. So she was a true dragon. No wonder she was so powerful. Yuan Lu, as expected of Yuan Lu, not long after I arrived, I met a pure-blooded true dragon. Then there must be other pure-blooded divine beasts in Yuan Lu, such as Qilins and phoenixes. Lu Ming's heart was filled with endless anticipation. Yuan Lu would definitely be more exciting and brilliant than the continent of God. The rise of geniuses and the competition of many divine beasts made Lu Ming's blood boil. 9th junior brother, where are you going? Long Yuan Shan asked. I'm going to the Treasure Dragon Palace to exchange for some useful things. Lu Ming said. Oh, I'm going to the Treasure Dragon Palace too. I'll take you there. Long Yuan Shan smiled. All right. Lu Ming nodded and followed Long Yuan Shan to the Treasure Dragon Palace. The Treasure Dragon Palace was located on top of a huge snowy mountain. The disciples of the divine Dragon Valley could exchange their contribution points for treasures here. Of course, they could also exchange their treasures for contribution points. Soon, Lu Ming and Long Yuan Shan arrived at the Treasure Dragon Palace. Outside the precious Dragon Palace, there were many people coming and going. Fortunately, the palace was huge enough to accommodate so many people, so many experts. Lu Ming scanned the area with a spiritual sense and noticed that all the people here were monarch realm experts. As for those below the monarch realm, he didn't see a single one. There were counters all around the Treasure Dragon Palace. Junior brother, feel free to walk around. I still have things to do here. Long Yuan Shan said. Senior brother, go ahead and do your work. Lu Ming nodded. Long Yuan Shan nodded and walked towards a house. As for Lu Ming, he casually looked around. After looking around for a while, Lu Ming walked to a counter. A white-haired old man was sitting in front of the counter. Senior, may I ask if there are any spiritual liquids here? Lu Ming asked. Of course there are. There are various kinds of spiritual liquids recorded in this jade token. You can take your pick. The old man took out a jade token and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual sense. He noticed that there were hundreds of spiritual liquids recorded in it. The functions and effects of each spiritual liquid were clearly recorded. Lu Ming looked at them one by one. After a while, he returned the jade token to the old man. Senior, I need 1,000 Spirit Night. How do I exchange it? Lu Ming asked. 1,000 Spirit Night can promote the growth of spiritual herbs. It's something that alchemists need. It's very precious. 1 or 2,000 contribution points. The old man said, 1,000 contribution points is really expensive. Lu Ming murmured in his heart. 1 contribution point was equivalent to 100 mid-tier primal stones. 1,000 contribution points was equivalent to 100,000 mid-tier primal stones, and it was only 1 or 2 taels. The price was almost the same as the top-tier life elixir. However, in order to help the tree of enlightenment grow, it was worth it. Senior, I'll exchange it for 10 kilograms of 1,000 Spirit Night. Lu Ming said, All right, give me your identity medallion. The old man said. Lu Ming handed the badge to the old man. The old man took out a disc and scanned the badge before returning it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming discovered that the contribution points in the badge had decreased by 100,000, leaving him with 2,050,000 contribution points. Following this, the old man took out a jade jar and handed it to Lu Ming. The jade jar was filled with 1,000 Spirit Night, a total of 10 kilograms. Lu Ming put it away with a satisfied look. Senior, do you have any materials from a true dragon that are above the martial dominator realm, such as dragon bones, dragon blood, dragon marrow, etc.? Lu Ming whispered to the old man. Lu Ming had obtained dragon bones that were not full of spirituality when he was in the divine wilderness mainland. However, the dragon bones were not very powerful when they were alive. Furthermore, too much time had passed and most of their spirituality had been lost. That kind of dragon bone was not very useful to Lu Ming now. We do have materials from a true dragon that are above the martial dominator realm and full of Spirit Night, but there aren't many of them. Besides, the price is quite high. The old man said after a slight hesitation, Senior, I'm willing to exchange it. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. I'll ask around for you. The old man took out a sound-conducting jade talisman and transmitted the message. Soon, the old man received the message. According to your request, there's a dragon bone that weighs 30 kilograms. It's suspected that the true dragon's cultivation was in the sacred realm when it was alive, and its Spirit Night was full of Spirit Night. But the price is 2 million contribution points. Do you want it? The old man said, 2 million contribution points. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. A dragon bone weighing 30 kilograms was priced at 2 million contribution points. That was the price of 2 sacred weapons. However, the old man had mentioned that the true dragon was in the sacred realm when it was alive. No wonder it was so expensive. I'll do it. In the end, Lu Ming clenched his teeth. The old man glanced at Lu Ming in astonishment. Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the first layer martial dominator realm, but he was able to earn 2 million contribution points. Sure, give me a moment. The old man left the counter. Lu Ming knew that the old man was going to retrieve the dragon bone. A while later, the old man returned with a storage ring and handed it to Lu Ming. You can check it first. Lu Ming took the storage ring and scanned it with his spiritual senses. He discovered that there was a piece of snow-white dragon bone lying quietly in the storage ring, exuding a powerful spiritual essence. Vaguely, one could even see small dragons swimming on the dragon bones. This was definitely not the bone of an ordinary martial dominator realm true dragon. It was most likely left behind by a sacred realm true dragon. Lu Ming wore a joyful expression and handed his identity badge to the old man. Chapter 1459. Let's go back and refine it. I wonder what level my dragon god battle body can reach with this dragon bone. Lu Ming's heart was burning. After putting away the dragon bone, he did not delay and returned to the Cloud Dragon Valley. After entering the cave, Lu Ming first poured 5 kilograms of 10,000 spirit liquid on the tree of enlightenment before sitting down cross-legged. With a thought, the dragon bone appeared in front of Lu Ming. Roar! The dragon bone was crystal clear, and a faint dragon roar could be heard from it, emitting a powerful spiritual essence. Great! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. His body emitted a powerful devouring force that enveloped the dragon bone. Immediately, strands of essence flew toward Lu Ming like tiny true dragons and flew into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming circulated the true dragon battle technique and the cultivation method of the dragon god battle body. He began to absorb and refine the essence to refine his spirit body. Just like that, time flew by day. As time passed, the size of the dragon bone gradually became smaller, and the radiance on it gradually dimmed. Lu Ming's body emitted bursts of dragon roars, and a layer of sacred radiance emanated from him. Lu Ming's spirit body was undergoing a transformation. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Crack! Cracks appeared on the dragon bone, and with a bang, it turned into a pile of powder. There was no more spiritual essence on it. Roar! At this moment, a deafening dragon roar could be heard from Lu Ming's body. The shadow of 9 dragons appeared on Lu Ming's body and surrounded Lu Ming's body. After a while, it entered Lu Ming's body and disappeared. The muscles all over Lu Ming's body were wriggling, and his bones were cracking. It was only after a while that everything quieted down. Huff! At this moment, Lu Ming let out a long breath and opened his eyes. Mid-level earth, spiritual body. Lu Ming felt the powerful energy in his body, and a thought flashed through his mind. Mid-level earth, spiritual body. Lu Ming's spiritual body had successfully completed its evolution and reached the mid-level earth spiritual body. This was a transformation of the essence from a low-level earth spiritual body to a mid-level earth spiritual body. If others knew about this, it would probably cause a huge uproar. The essence of a spiritual body was difficult to improve. Ordinary martial emperors would temper their spiritual bodies while increasing their cultivation. When their cultivation increased, their spiritual bodies would also become stronger. However, this kind of increase was only a quantitative increase. For example, if a martial artist with a low-level earth spiritual body increased his cultivation, his spiritual body's power would become stronger. However, he would still be a low-level earth spiritual body. Advancing from a low-grade earth spiritual body to a medium-grade earth spiritual body was a qualitative improvement. Lu Ming had completed the improvement of his essence. The higher the essence level of the spirit body, the more powerful it would be. Moreover, when one's cultivation level increased, the extent of the improvement of the spirit body would also be greater. It was very, very difficult for a spirit body to improve its intrinsic quality. There were very few ways to improve one's spiritual body. Just like De in the past, he obtained the cultivation method of the 10,000 spirit body by chance. It was a method that could improve the essence of the spirit body, but it was also very difficult. It required the blood and essence of 10,000 kinds of creatures. De had spent 10,000 years but had not succeeded. Once he succeeded, his spiritual body would evolve into a low-level earth spiritual body. It was rumored that there were some treasures of heaven and earth in the Yuan continent that could enhance the essence of one's spirit body. However, those treasures of heaven and earth were extremely rare and priceless. The dragon bones that cost 2 million contribution points can only improve one's spiritual body from a low-level earth spiritual body to a mid-level earth spiritual body. I don't know how many resources I will need to improve my spiritual body in the future. Lu Ming sighed. He had been looking forward to improving his spiritual body to a high-level earth spiritual body. Now it seemed like an extravagant hope. The resources and dragon essence needed to improve his dragon god battle body were much greater than he had imagined. Moreover, the further he progressed, the more dragon essence he would need to improve his spiritual body. The amount of dragon essence needed to improve his spiritual body from a mid-level Earth spiritual body to a high-level Earth spiritual body was 10 times more than the amount needed to improve his spiritual body from a low-level Earth spiritual body to a mid-level Earth spiritual body. Later on, if he wanted to improve his spiritual body to a heavenly spiritual body, he would need an astronomical figure. Just thinking about it gave Lu Ming a headache. Let's take it slow. After my cultivation has improved, I will go out and adventure more to earn origin stones and contribution points. This was Lu Ming's plan. Then, Lu Ming continued to cultivate. He comprehended the 13 strikes and the chaotic flipping sky seal. The chaotic flipping sky seal, like other realm martial techniques, was divided into 6 levels. Lu Ming was only at the first level and was about to break through to the second level. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days passed. Lu Ming had joined the Cloud Dragon Valley for more than a month. After 10 days of hard work, the chaotic flipping sky seal had successfully reached the second level. And Lu Ming had also reached the second level of the 13 strikes. With a casual swing of the long spear, he could release 4 forces in an instant. The power was astonishing. At this moment, Lu Ming received a message. He had a mission. The Dragon God Valley had assigned him a mission. Generally, new disciples would be given a mission by the sect within 3 months. Lu Ming followed the instructions of the mission and flew out of the Dragon God Valley. On a small snowy mountain, there were already a few people waiting there. These people also had the same mission as Lu Ming. "You are Lu Ming." Lu Ming landed. Some of them recognized Lu Ming. When Lu Ming had just joined the Dragon God Valley, he had caused a huge commotion. The Silver Dragon Valley Master and the Cloud Dragon Valley Master had personally come. In the end, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master had personally accepted Lu Ming as his disciple. Many people had been watching the battle, thus it was normal for some of them to recognize Lu Ming. "How should I address you?" Lu Ming brought his fists together and scanned the crowd. Apart from Lu Ming, there were 4 other people. One of them was a bulky man in his 30s with a buzz cut. His aura was the most intimidating among them. The other 3 were slightly younger. 2 of them were young men in their 20s and a young woman in her 20s. Both of them had a voluptuous figure. "I'm Su Long." The man with buzz cut introduced himself. Following this, the other 3 introduced themselves too. Of the 2 young men, one was called Zhang Kong and the other was called Fu Xing. The young woman was called Duan Yen. The few of them did not hide their cultivation level. Lu Ming scanned them with his spiritual senses and found out their cultivation level. Su Long's cultivation was the strongest, at the peak 3rd layer martial dominator realm. Meanwhile, Fu Xing and Duan Yen were both 3rd layer martial dominators. One was in the early stage, while the other was in the late stage. Zhang Kong's cultivation was at the peak 2nd layer martial dominator realm. Lu Ming was the weakest, with a cultivation of the peak 1st layer martial dominator realm. I believe everyone is aware of our mission. The Feng clan of the 6 Void Mountain is a subsidiary clan of the Dragon God Valley. A while ago, the patriarch of the Feng clan was murdered out of nowhere, and the Feng clan was unable to find any clues. A few days later, the 2nd master of the Feng clan was murdered out of nowhere too. The Feng clan panicked and asked for help from the Dragon God Valley. Our mission is to find the reason behind the deaths of the patriarch and the 2nd master of the Feng clan, and find the culprit to ensure the safety of the Feng clan. Su Long briefly explained the mission this time. Lu Ming and the others nodded. They had seen the mission before. "All right, let's move out," Su Long said. Chapter 1460. The Feng clan of the 6 Void Mountain was located in the territory of the Divine Dragon Valley. It was a small clan that was affiliated to the Divine Dragon Valley and was quite far away from the Divine Dragon Valley. The 5 of them traveled day and night, and it took them 10 days to arrive at the Feng clan. Such an eerie aura! Duan Yen shuddered as they approached the Feng clan. The others frowned as they felt the air was exceptionally cold. Up ahead, there was a continuous stretch of palaces. A group of people came out to welcome them. The one leading the group was a young man with a pale face. He immediately bowed when he saw Lu Ming and the others. Feng Yi of the Feng clan greets the envoys of the divine Dragon Valley. Don't mention it. Su Long waved his hand. After some introductions, the group knew that Feng Yi was the only son of the Feng clan's patriarch. The people who followed Feng Yi to welcome them were the higher-ups of the Feng clan. Everyone, let's talk inside. Feng Yi led Lu Ming and the others into the Feng clan's residence. Such an eerie aura. Lu Ming frowned as he entered the Feng clan's residence. He could feel that the aura here was even colder. Did anything happen to the Feng clan recently? Su Long was the first to speak as the group took their seats in the main hall. 3 days ago, my third uncle died too, Feng Yi said with a sorrowful expression. The others of the Feng clan wore terrified expressions. The Feng clan had no idea who they had offended. The higher-ups of the Feng clan had died mysteriously one after another, causing the Feng clan to fall into a state of panic. No one knew who would be the next one to die. Do you know how they died? Su Long asked. No idea. We've checked carefully. There are no wounds, not even a single wound. Feng Yi said while shaking his head. No wounds? How is that possible? Fu Xing said in disbelief. There really are no wounds. We've checked carefully. My father, my second uncle, and my third uncle are all the same. There are no wounds at all, as if they died suddenly. However, they are all martial dominator realm experts, so it's impossible for them to die suddenly. Someone must be behind this, Feng Yi said while clenching his teeth. Does the Feng clan have any enemies? Su Long asked. Our Feng family is considered relatively weak in this region of Six Void Mountain. Normally, when we do things, we tremble with fear. How could we dare to offend other forces? Therefore, our Feng family has always been on good terms with other families and forces. We virtually don't have any enemies, Feng Yi said. Su Long, Lu Ming, and the others frowned. There were no enemies and no wounds, which meant that there were no clues. How could he investigate? Could it be that he had to wait for the rabbit to show up? Wait for the other party to attack again? The hall suddenly quieted down, and the atmosphere seemed a little heavy. I suggest that we open the coffin for an autopsy. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. The one who spoke was Lu Ming. Open the coffin for an autopsy. Everyone looked at Lu Ming. I don't think that's a good idea. My father and the others have just been buried not too long ago. It's a little disrespectful to open a tavern now. Feng Yi said, I also agree with opening the coffin for an autopsy. Otherwise, without any clues at all, how are we supposed to investigate the matter? If the other party doesn't make a move after that, wouldn't this matter be left unsettled? Su Long said. Then Fu Xing, Duanyan, and Zhang Kong spoke one after another, agreeing to open the coffin for an autopsy. Feng Yi's expression changed, but in the end he gritted his teeth and nodded, agreeing to this matter. Under the lead of Feng Yi and the Feng family's upper echelons, the group headed to the back mountain. Soon, they arrived at the burial place of the Feng family's patriarch and the others. Feng Yi arranged for the Feng family's men to act. Soon, 3 purple gold coffins were placed in front of Su Long and the others, and the coffin lids were already opened. 3 middle-aged men were lying quietly inside the purple gold coffins. The 3 of them were emperors, and their corpses wouldn't be corroded without at least 100 years of age. Lu Ming, Su Long, and the others carefully examined the corpses. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyebrows twitched, as if he had discovered something. His eyes were filled with doubt, but he didn't say anything. Then, everyone carefully examined the corpses. Sure enough, there weren't any wounds, not even the slightest. No wounds. Lu Ming frowned. He recalled the men of the Tsang Emperor in the martial emperor's mystic ground, who had died in the martial emperor's mystic ground without any wounds. Lu Ming speculated that those people had been killed by the soul-destroying mage emperor. However, Lu Ming didn't think that the soul-destroying mage emperor had escaped from the martial emperor realm and came here to kill a low-level martial dominator realm cultivator every few days. It was impossible. The soul-destroying mage emperor destroying his soul? By the way, could it be that these people's souls were destroyed? Lu Ming's heart shuddered as he thought of this possibility. His eyes flickered with astonishment. He had a feeling that this matter wasn't as simple as it seemed. After a careful examination, the Feng family's men buried the 3 patriarchs, and the group returned to the main hall. Su Long, Fu Xing, and the others frowned, as they couldn't find any clues. Strange, there aren't any wounds. Could it be that their souls were destroyed? Su Long said in a serious tone. The others remained silent. It was highly possible. If the culprit has a grudge against the Feng family and is here to seek revenge, the next target would most likely be you, young Master Feng. Fu Xing said, causing Feng Yi's face to turn even paler. What should I do? Esteemed envoys, please save me. Whatever you want, my Feng family will try our best to satisfy you, even if it means going bankrupt. Feng Yi begged. Don't worry. Since we've accepted the mission, we'll definitely complete it and guarantee your safety. Su Long said, How about this? Why don't we take turns protecting young Master Feng? Junior brother Lu Ming and junior brother Zhang Kong will be in a group, Fu Xing and I will be in a group, and senior brother Su Long will be alone. How does that sound? Duan Yan's gaze shifted as she spoke. I'm fine with it. Fu Xing let out a smile. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows slightly. This grouping was quite interesting. Among the 5, he and Zhang Kong had the lowest cultivation, but they were grouped together. This didn't make sense. The corners of Lu Ming's lips gradually curled into a smile. The mission was quite strange to begin with. Among the 5 of them, Su Long, Fu Xing, and Duan Yan were all 3rd-layer martial dominator realm cultivators, while he was only a 1st-layer martial dominator realm cultivator. The arrangement didn't make sense at all. Logically speaking, since Su Long, Fu Xing, and Duan Yan were all 3rd-layer martial dominators, it implied that the mission could only be completed with a cultivation of the 3rd-layer martial dominator realm. What was the meaning of placing a 1st-layer martial dominator realm cultivator in the mission? Could it be that someone was manipulating the mission? Or could it be that someone had purposely placed Su Long, Fu Xing, and Duan Yan here? Lu Ming immediately recalled Yin Feng and Hiyu. Chapter 1461. He thought of these situations since the moment he saw Su Long and the rest. It was just that Duan Yan's arrangement now gave him a reminder. Okay, I have no objections. Lu Ming's mind spun as he directly agreed. Zhang Kong mused for a moment and also nodded in agreement. Okay, then let's do that. If the other party is really seeking revenge, then the next target will definitely be young Lord Feng. As long as the other party appears, we'll make it difficult for the other party to escape. Su Long announced. Starting from that night, everyone took turns to guard the surroundings of Feng Yi's bedroom. On the first day, it was Lu Ming and Zhang Kong. On the second day, it was Fu Xing and Duan Yan. On the third day, it was Su Long. That night, everything was calm and peaceful. Nothing happened at all. It was the same for the second day and the third day. Just like this, 6 days passed in a blink of an eye. On the 7th day, it was Lu Ming and Zhang Kong's turn again. The night sky was quiet, the cold wind whistling. In a hidden corner, Lu Ming sat cross-legged. His aura was restrained, and his spiritual sense spread out, enveloping the entire Feng family mansion. On the other side was Zhang Kong. Very soon it was late at night. Suddenly, a shadow flashed past in the night sky. Swoosh! Right at this time, Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes. His figure dashed out, as fast as lightning, pouncing towards that shadow. And on the other side, Zhang Kong clearly sensed it too, pouncing out at the same time as Lu Ming. Whoosh! That shadow seemed to know that he was discovered and also swiftly rushed out, his speed shockingly fast. 3 figures, one in front and one behind, rushed out of the Feng family mansion and rushed towards Six Void Mountain. Six Void Mountain was incomparably huge. Inside there were countless dangerous peaks, and the terrain was extremely complicated. Once that shadow rushed out of the Feng family mansion, it rushed straight into Six Void Mountain. From high up in the sky, the other party's figure could not be seen at all. One could only similarly rush into Six Void Mountain to chase after the other party. Lu Ming and Zhang Kong rushed into Six Void Mountain one after another, their auras firmly locked onto the other party, chasing all the way. But the other party's speed was shocking, and he seemed to be very familiar with Six Void Mountain's terrain. Turning left and right in Six Void Mountain, the 2 people could not catch up at all for a while. I'll go ahead and block them. You chase after them from behind. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Lu Ming, and then he soared into the sky. Black wings stretched out from his back, and with a flap, Lu Ming flew forward at an extremely fast speed. His speed suddenly increased by several times. Lu Ming wanted to rush to the front and intercept the other party, so that the other party had no way out. But at this moment, in the vast mountains below, a shrill scream rang out. It was from Zhang Kong. Lu Ming's expression changed. His figure swooped down, rushing towards the source of the sound. Bang! Lu Ming landed in a valley. The voice just now came from here, but now there was no one here. There's blood! Lu Ming saw blood. According to the aura of the blood, it was Zhang Kong. But there was only blood and no one. Lu Ming's spiritual sense spread out, but he did not sense anything at all. Not only did that person from before disappear, even Zhang Kong's aura also vanished without a trace. Lu Ming frowned. Just this short while, the other party and Zhang Kong actually disappeared without a trace together. It was too strange. Lu Ming speculated that the other party was absolutely incomparably familiar with Six Void Mountain. There was even a secret hiding place nearby. Lu Ming started searching in the vicinity, but after searching for a while, he still found nothing. Lu Ming speculated that Zhang Kong was most likely dead. Helpless, Lu Ming could only return to the Feng family. Just returning to the Feng family, he saw a group of people waiting at the Feng family's gate. Feng Yi, as well as the Feng family's other powerhouses. Su Long, Fu Xing, and Duan Yan were all there. The 3 people faintly protected Feng Yi in the middle. The moment they saw Lu Ming return, everyone's eyes lit up. Junior apprentice brother Lu Ming, how was it? Did you catch the culprit? Su Long asked. Lu Ming shook his head and said, No, the other party is incomparably familiar with this area of Six Void Mountain and did not catch up. And did not catch up? What about junior apprentice brother Zhang Kong? Duan Yan frowned and asked, Zhang Kong is most likely dead. Lu Ming said, recounting the matter of them chasing that shadow previously. That's not right. After Lu Ming finished speaking, Duan Yan opened her mouth coldly, staring at Lu Ming with an unfriendly gaze. What's not right? Lu Ming said, You said that the culprit was able to inflict serious injuries and even kill junior apprentice brother Zhang Kong within an instant, but you could not find any trace of the culprit. That's not right. How could the culprit disappear so quickly? Secondly, you said that you could not find any trace of junior apprentice brother Zhang Kong and the culprit. May I ask, junior apprentice brother Zhang Kong's cultivation is at the peak 2nd layer martial dominator realm, but the culprit was able to inflict serious injuries or even kill him in an instant. On the other hand, your cultivation is only at the 1st layer martial dominator realm. Why didn't the culprit continue to target you, instead allowing you to search the place before letting you go? Why didn't the culprit kill you too? Duan Yin asked coldly. At the side, the others also looked puzzled. Are you suspecting me? Lu Ming let out a hollow laugh. That's right. You chased after the culprit together with Zhang Kong. Zhang Kong, whose cultivation was higher, was killed, but you were still alive. I suspect that you're a coward who chose to leave Zhang Kong alone when he was in danger. Furthermore, you were the one who killed Zhang Kong, and you were trying to rob him of his treasures, right? Duan Yen scolded loudly, a cunning look flashing in her eyes. Lu Ming, is that true? Fu Xing stared at Lu Ming with an unfriendly look. Are they trying to make things difficult for me? Lu Ming let out a hollow laugh in his heart. It turned out that Duan Yen and Fu Xing were up to something. They were purposely picking on him. These two were most likely from the Yinfeng faction. How ridiculous! If you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. What are you trying to do? Just tell me. Lu Ming said calmly. Humph, I'm right. So you have nothing to say now. Since you're a suspect, you better seal your cultivation and let us watch over you. Once the mission is over, we'll bring you back to the Dragon God Valley to receive your punishment. Duan Yen said. Hee, seal my cultivation? Sure, come here. Let's see if you can seal my cultivation. Lu Ming let out a hollow laugh. His eyes flickered with an icy, murderous intent. Sealing his cultivation. Didn't that mean they could do whatever they wanted to him? Why would Lu Ming seal his cultivation? How ridiculous! Are you trying to resist? Duan Yin snapped coldly. Previously, she had heard that although Lu Ming had only ranked up to the martial dominator realm not long ago, his strength was shocking. Even geniuses like he were no match against Lu Ming in the martial emperor mystical ground. Although her cultivation was 2 layers higher than Lu Ming's, she was not confident that she could defeat him in a battle. Nonsense! If I say you're guilty, would you be willing to kneel down before me? Lu Ming let out a hollow laugh. Humph! You're the most suspicious person in Zhang Kong's death today. You should give us an explanation. Duan Yen snapped. Explanation? Who do you think you are? Why should I give you an explanation? Lu Ming said disdainfully. Duan Yen and Fu Xing's faces turned unpleasant. All right, today's incident might not be junior brother Lu Ming's fault. Duan Yen, stop guessing. Our priority now is to find the culprit and complete the mission. Chapter 1462. Duan Yen and Fu Xing seemed to be afraid of Su Long. They glanced coldly at Lu Ming, walked to the side, and did not continue to ask. Now we can basically confirm that the other party is here for revenge. The next target is young Lord Feng. Su Long spoke again, causing Feng Yi's face to turn pale. Esteemed envoys, you must save me. Feng, he cried out with a look of horror on his face. Don't worry, judging from the previous situation, the other party only wants to sneak attack at night, which means that they are not very strong and are afraid of us. Now we have to lure them here. Su Long said. Lure? How? Feng Yi said. We'll set up a formation around young Lord Feng's bedroom. Once the other party comes and steps into the formation, it'll be like catching a turtle in the wind. Su Long said confidently. Feng Yi's eyes lit up and said, That's right, why didn't I think of it? My Feng family also has a few 9th grade inscribers who can set up the formation together. I also cultivate the Tao of Inscription, and I can lend you a hand. Duan Yen stepped out and said. Lu Ming just listened, and a faint light flashed in the depths of his eyes. He did not say anything and did not say that he would help set up the formation. Now his second body was almost healed and was cultivating in the mountain and river diagram. Okay, then let's take action now, Su Long said. Immediately, the Feng family's inscribers and Duan Yen set up a formation in Feng Yi's bedroom. They also used various concealment formations to conceal the aura of the formation. If one did not observe carefully, one would not be able to see the formation. They were busy until the second night before they finished setting up the formation. That night, Lu Ming and the others did not guard near Feng Yi's bedroom. Instead, they returned to their rooms to rest. Guarding near Feng Yi would only alert the enemy. In this way, there was no movement after 2 days, until the third night. Help! Suddenly, a cry for help cut through the quiet night sky. It was Feng Yi's voice. Whoosh! Lu Ming, who was cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes and rushed out. As soon as he rushed out, he saw a figure rushing into the sky from Feng Yi's bedroom. This figure was still holding Feng Yi in his hand and flying toward the 6th Void Mountain. Chase! At this moment, Su Long, Fu Xing, and Duan Yen appeared and chased after the figure with extreme speed. Lu Ming also chased after the figure, one chasing and one fleeing. They rushed into the 6th Void Mountain in a blink of an eye. Once they rushed to the range of 6th Void Mountain, the other party swooped down, charging into the mountain forest. Lu Ming and the other 3 followed closely behind, rushing into the forest. Help! Feng Yi shouted. In the night sky, Lu Ming and the others could clearly see that the figure in front of them was wearing a loose black robe. He grabbed Feng Yi and continued to move forward at an extremely fast speed. In the dark forest, he was like a ghost. Today, you won't be able to escape. Surrender! Su Long shouted. The true essence in his body surged and his speed increased. In the blink of an eye, the group had traveled thousands of miles in the 6th Void Mountain. Lu Ming and the others were getting closer and closer to the black-robed man. Stop! At this moment, Lu Ming shouted. Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing jumped in fright and involuntarily stopped. Lu Ming, what are you doing? What's the meaning of this? Duan Yen reprimanded Lu Ming. What are you shouting for? You'll know when you see that person. Lu Ming said indifferently. Duan Yen and the others looked forward and couldn't help but be stunned, because at this moment the black-robed man also stopped and didn't continue to escape. Strange, Lu Ming stopped. Why didn't the black-robed man seize the opportunity to escape? Why did he stop? Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing were full of doubts. Because there's a great killing formation in front of us. Once we step in, we'll die without a doubt. Lu Ming said, What? Great killing formation? Su Long and the other two's faces changed wildly. Duan Yen looked carefully and said, Impossible. There's no trace of a formation in front. It's impossible for there to be a great formation. If there really was one, how could I not see it? Lu Ming, don't talk nonsense here. Oh, if you don't believe me, you can go ahead and try. Lu Ming smirked coldly. Duan Yan's expression changed. Seeing how confident Lu Ming was, she became doubtful and didn't dare to go forward. She wouldn't joke around with her life. Su Long and Fu Xing were also doubtful. Hee, I didn't expect this formation to be so well hidden and still be discovered by you guys. As expected of a disciple of the Dragon God Valley, the black-robed man in front of them laughed coldly, his voice hoarse and unpleasant to the ears. Who are you? The Feng clan is a subsidiary clan of my Dragon God Valley. You dared to kill a member of the Feng clan, which means you're going against my Dragon God Valley. I'll give you a chance now. Let Feng Yi go. Su Long said coldly. He, a disciple of the Dragon God Valley. How impressive. The black-robed man smirked. He, don't pretend anymore. Right then, Lu Ming sneered and said, You've been plotting all this while. From the moment we stepped into the Feng family, no, from the moment you sought help from the divine Dragon Valley, you've been plotting all this while. Your goal is to lure us here and into that array. Am I right, master of the Feng family? What? Lu Ming's words made Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing dumbfounded. Feng clan's patriarch? How is that possible? Lu Ming, what nonsense are you talking about? Feng clan's patriarch. We saw it with our own eyes. He's already dead. Duan Yen reprimanded. Who said that the person we saw was the real Feng clan's patriarch. Lu Ming smiled faintly. This, Sulong, Duanyan, and the others fell silent. Indeed, who said that the person they saw was the real Feng clan's patriarch? If the person they saw wasn't the real Feng clan's patriarch, then wouldn't Feng Yi be? Their cold gazes fell on Feng Yi. At this time, the black-robed man had already put Feng Yi down. Feng Yi wasn't injured at all. I didn't expect you to see through my plan, even though it was so well hidden. The black-robed man suddenly sighed and removed the hood covering his head. Sulong, Duanyan, and Fu Xing's eyes narrowed. Sure enough, it was the Feng clan's patriarch. He looked exactly the same as the Feng clan's patriarch they saw when they opened the coffin. In other words, the Feng clan's patriarch they saw when they opened the coffin was a fake. In the martial world, using special methods to alter another person's appearance was a simple matter. In the martial world, one's aura was the most important factor in identifying people. Appearances could change, but aura remained the same. However, they had never seen the Feng clan's patriarch before. Thus, they couldn't recognize his aura. Therefore, it was easy for the Feng clan to find a fake person to impersonate the Feng clan's patriarch. Young man, my plan can be said to be flawless. I really want to know, how did you find out? The Feng clan's patriarch looked at Lu Ming with curiosity, but he wasn't flustered. Flawless? In my opinion, it's full of flaws. Chapter 1463. There are too many loopholes. Impossible. The Feng family head's eyes turned cold. How could there be so many loopholes in his meticulous plan? If you want to hear it, I'll tell you so that you can die in peace. Firstly, the first loophole was discovered when the coffin was opened. Lu Ming said, "There were loopholes in the coffin? Impossible. The one who spoke was not the Feng family head, but Feng Yi." Sulong, Duanyan, and Fu Xing were also puzzled. They had examined the coffin carefully and found nothing. There were no wounds on the bodies of the three people, so they could not find any clues. What loophole? Lu Ming, you'd better not talk nonsense. Duanyan mocked. Shut up. Listen carefully if you're stupid. Lu Ming glanced at Duanyan coldly and scolded. You! Duanyan's beautiful face flushed red. Lu Ming actually called her stupid. All right, let's listen to Junior Lu Ming. Sulong tried to smooth things over again. According to my deduction, the three people who died in the Feng family, the second master, and the third master, were really killed. Moreover, the one who killed them was you, right? Lu Ming said. The Feng family head smiled coldly and did not answer directly. However, they are your family after all. You killed them and used them to set up a trap, so you felt guilty. Therefore, when you buried them, you dressed them up meticulously. Therefore, after they were buried, their bodies were neat and tidy. However, although the Feng family head's body was dressed neatly, it was not meticulous. Some parts were a little careless. This explains a lot. If that person is really the Feng family head, why didn't he do it meticulously like the second master and the third master when he was buried? That's impossible. This can only mean that the Feng family head is fake. Therefore, when Feng Yi was buried, he was not as meticulous. Lu Ming explained slowly. Feng Yi's eyes widened. Lu Ming said that in his heart. In fact, that was indeed the case. The patriarch of the Feng family also had a look of surprise in his eyes. He said, "You're so young, but your observation skills are so meticulous. How admirable. Even I didn't expect this." This guy. At the side, Sulong, Duanyan, and Fu Xing had to admit that they hadn't thought of this either. There is also the second point. 3 days ago, a black shadow lured me and Zhang Kong out. I guess that you wanted to defeat us one by one, but you are too familiar with the terrain of the Sixth Void Mountain. Moreover, after you attacked Zhang Kong, you completely disappeared in a few breaths of time. I speculate that there must be a secret passage or something nearby. This makes me think that this person might be someone from the Feng family. Otherwise, how could he be so familiar with the surrounding area? The third point is just now. We clearly set up a formation in Feng Yi's bedroom, but you were able to easily take Feng Yi away from the formation. It's obvious that Feng Yi is in cahoots with you. He's in cahoots with you. Your identity is pretty obvious. Who else could it be apart from the patriarch of the Feng clan? You've set up a trap to lure us here. In other words, you just want to kill us. However, I'm very curious. Why do you want to kill us? We're disciples of the Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming explained in detail before asking his doubts. Trying to kill us? How bold of the Feng clan. In my opinion, the Feng clan shouldn't exist anymore. Duan Yan said coldly. Ha ha ha, so what if you know the truth? So what if you didn't break the formation? Today you will die. The patriarch of the Feng clan burst out laughing. Bang! Following this, a terrifying aura was emitted from the patriarch of the Feng clan, the aura of the peak fourth layer martial dominator realm. Your cultivation. Why is it only the peak fourth layer martial dominator realm? Su Long, Duan Yan, and Fu Xing were astounded. According to the information, the patriarch of the Feng clan was only a third-layer martial royal realm cultivator from a small clan. His battle prowess could not be compared to the disciples of the divine Dragon Valley. Therefore, they did not take him seriously at first. However, the aura that the patriarch of the Feng clan was emitting was the peak fourth-layer martial dominator realm. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, figures flashed in the forest. 8 figures appeared and surrounded Lu Ming and the rest. They were 8 old men. Their auras had all reached the third-layer martial dominator realm. So many third-layer martial dominators. How is this possible? Duan Yan exclaimed. According to the records, the patriarch of the Feng clan had the highest cultivation in the Feng clan, who was at the third-layer martial dominator realm. The other elders were usually at the second-layer martial dominator realm. The Feng clan was not one of the top sects in the Tsang continent like the Dragon God Valley. The Feng clan was only a small clan in the 6th Void Mountain. The number of experts they had was not comparable to the Dragon God Valley. In the Dragon God Valley, there were many martial dominator realm experts. Even those with a cultivation of the 4th-layer martial dominator realm and above could be easily found. However, a small clan like the Feng clan did not have that many martial dominators. However, 8 third-layer martial dominators had appeared at the same time, which did not match the records. Su Long, Duan Yan, and Fu Xing's faces darkened. Today you will all die. The patriarch of the Feng clan wore a cold expression with a murderous intent. A powerful aura encapsulated Lu Ming and his crew. Kill! The patriarch of the Feng clan uttered a roar and charged at the 4. I'll deal with him. Su Long roared as a peak third-layer martial dominator realm aura burst out from his body. His domain was unleashed as he charged at the patriarch of the Feng clan. Dong! The two exchanged blows. Su Long's figure was knocked backward, but he managed to resist the attack. At that instant, the 8 old men of the Feng clan made their moves too, charging at Fu Xing and Duan Yan. As for Lu Ming, a mere first-layer martial dominator realm cultivator, was not a threat to them. The place was immersed in a chaotic battle. Su Long and the patriarch of the Feng clan were engaged in a fierce battle. Without a doubt, the disciples of the Dragon God Valley were stronger than the disciples of the small clans. Duan Yan and Fu Xing were able to resist the attacks of the 8 old men for the time being, although they were at a disadvantage. On the other hand, Su Long was at a disadvantage facing the patriarch of the Feng clan. After all, Su Long's cultivation was 1 layer lower than the patriarch of the Feng clan. Su Long was not a peerless genius who could defeat those with higher cultivation. Therefore, despite his outstanding strength, he was still suppressed by the patriarch of the Feng clan. Die! The patriarch of the Feng clan was engulfed in a black glow as he charged at Su Long Puff. Su Long spat out a mouthful of blood. Hee kid, you're dead for sure this time. You're only a first-layer martial dominator realm cultivator. Let me deal with you. Feng Yi appeared behind Lu Ming. His aura was locked onto Lu Ming's figure. Peak second-layer martial dominator realm. Is that so? Lu Ming let out a calm smile. Kill. At that instant, Su Long uttered a roar as his aura skyrocketed. Chapter 1464. At that instant, Su Long suddenly unleashed his aura of the fourth-layer martial dominator realm. Even though his cultivation was only at the early stage of the fourth-layer martial dominator realm, his outstanding strength allowed him to be on par with the patriarch of the Feng clan. Concealing his cultivation. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Su Long had been concealing his cultivation, but he had no choice but to reveal it now. The people of the Feng clan were startled by Su Long's sudden outburst. Feng Yi's eyes flickered coldly as he said, Kid, I'll kill you first before dealing with the others. Die. Feng Yi's claw was pitch black as it grabbed at Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming immediately lashed out a punch at Feng Yi's claw. Following a crack, Feng Yi's claw became twisted as its bones were shattered into pieces by Lu Ming's punch. Feng Yi let out a cry of agony. Bang! Lu Ming lashed out another punch at Feng Yi's dantian. A terrifying force exploded, destroying Feng Yi's dantian instantly. Feng Yi's figure was sent flying a few hundred meters like a kite with its string cut. He crashed into a small hill and stopped breathing. Even though Feng Yi's cultivation was at the peak of the second-layer martial dominator realm, his strength was still weaker than the disciples of the Dragon God Valley, not to mention Hiyu, Wang Xiao, and the other geniuses. He stood no chance against Lu Ming. Ear! The patriarch of the Feng clan let out a roar as a ferocious, murderous intent burst out from his body. Kill that brat! The patriarch of the Feng clan yelled. Kid, die! An old man who was initially attacking Duan Yen and Fu Xing lunged at Lu Ming. A palm print that was as black as ink with a fishy smell blasted toward Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming's eyes flickered as his figure was encapsulated with the chaotic domain. He executed the hell-suppressing heaven art and lashed out a punch. The force of the punch swept through the air, causing the foul stench to dissipate. Bang! The fist collided with the palm, resulting in a shocking shockwave. Following this, the old man let out a groan as his figure was sent flying by Lu Ming. His figure flew into the air with blood leaking out from his mouth. Whoosh! Lu Ming's figure flashed as he charged at the other party. He punched out with both fists, and dozens of fist energies drowned out the other party. The other party roared and tried his best to resist, but under Lu Ming's storm-like fists, he was unable to withstand a single blow. When the fist energy dissipated, the old man was also smashed into pieces. A third-layer martial royal realm expert was instantly killed by Lu Ming, which greatly shocked everyone present. This Lu Ming is really that strong. A light flickered in Duan Yen and Fu Xing's eyes. No one knew what they were thinking. Junior brother Lu Ming, come and help me kill this person. At this moment, Su Long roared. All right. Lu Ming nodded, and with a flicker of his body, he rushed towards the battlefield between Su Long and the Feng family patriarch. Boom! Lin Fan threw out a punch, and the air buzzed. The terrifying fist energy flew towards the head of the Feng family. After exchanging a blow with Lu Ming, the Feng family patriarch's body shuddered and was knocked a step back. First layer martial royal realm, how could he be so strong? He must be a peerless genius of the Dragon God Valley. The Feng family patriarch's eyes flickered with astonishment. Kill! Su Long also launched a fierce attack. Under the joint attack of Lu Ming and Su Long, the Feng family patriarch was at a disadvantage. Ding-ling-ling. At that instant, a black bell floated above the Feng family patriarch's head, emitting a tinkling sound. An invisible ripple spread out from the bell, and Lu Ming could feel his spiritual deity shuddering as it was attacked by an invisible force. The tinkling sound of the bell was able to attack the spiritual deity. To be precise, it was attacking the soul of the spiritual deity. However, Lu Ming's soul was extremely powerful. Moreover, the spirit deity was wearing a jade armor. At this moment, the jade armor was emitting a layer of light that enveloped the spirit deity. Lu Ming's spirit deity merely trembled a little and was fine. On the other hand, Su Long's face turned pale as his body shuddered. Kill, kill! The Feng family patriarch took hold of the opportunity and launched a fierce attack at Lu Ming, and Su Long Lu Ming threw out 2 punches to block the attack. But Su Long's body shuddered violently as a trail of blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth. Junior brother Lu Ming, hold him off for now. I'll help junior sister Duan Yen and the others kill those people, and then I'll help you. At that instant, Su Long yelled and backed off, leaving the Feng family patriarch to Lu Ming alone, exposing Lu Ming to the attacks of the Feng family patriarch. Haha, it seems like the disciples of the Dragon God Valley are also scheming against each other. You shall die first. The Feng family patriarch laughed coldly as the bell above his head continued to tinkle, emitting an invisible ripple that surged toward Lu Ming. At the same time, his pitch-black palm emitted a disgusting stench as he hurled it at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes flickered coldly, but he did not say anything. He unleashed his true force and fought against the Feng family patriarch. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had exchanged over 10 blows with the Feng family patriarch. Damn it! Why is my soul-shaking bell useless against this kid? Besides, his strength is too powerful. The Feng family patriarch was even more shocked as the battle continued. No matter what he did, he could not defeat Lu Ming. Lu Ming was like a boulder in the middle of an ocean, standing firm. On the other hand, Su Long charged toward Duan Yen and the others. With his cultivation of the 4th layer martial dominator realm and his outstanding strength, he had gained the upper hand. In just a short while, he had slain 3 old men in a row, turning the tide of the battle. Whoosh! 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 The sword in Su Long's hand danced like a dragon, emitting a shocking sword intent. Duan Yen and Fu Xing cooperated with Su Long and attacked the remaining 4 old men like a storm. Puff! Another old man was slashed in half by Su Long's sword. The remaining 3 old men were no match for Su Long and the others. Let's go! The remaining 3 wanted to escape, but Su Long and the others each took one of them and tied them down. Not long after, the old man who was fighting against Su Long was slain too. The remaining 2 old men were killed by Su Long one after the other. The Feng family patriarch was the only one left at the scene. Damn it, how could this be? The Feng family patriarch yelled furiously. The strength of the people from the Dragon God Valley had exceeded his expectations. Based on the difficulty of the mission he had requested from the Dragon God Valley, it was unlikely that they would send a 4th layer martial dominator realm disciple. However, to his surprise, Su Long had concealed his cultivation. His actual cultivation was at the 4th layer martial dominator realm. On the other hand, Lu Ming's strength was even more shocking. His cultivation of the 1st layer martial dominator realm was able to resist him. Besides, Lu Ming had seen through his plan. Lu Ming and the others did not enter the formation, which led to the current situation. Damn it, screw it! The Feng family patriarch's eyes flickered viciously as he spat out a mouthful of blood onto the bell on his head, causing it to emit a crimson glow. The bell chimed continuously as its power grew stronger. Waves of invisible forces surged toward Lu Ming, attacking his spirit deity. However, they were all blocked by the jade armor. Meanwhile, Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing stood aside, but they did not lend Lu Ming a hand. Senior brother Su Long, please lend me a hand. Let's kill this man together. Chapter 14, 65. However, Su Long was unfazed. A cold sneer appeared on his face as he said, "Junior brother Lu Ming, you've just entered the divine Dragon Valley. Although you're talented, you're still lacking in battle experience. We'll leave the Feng family's patriarch to you. We'll support you." There's indeed something fishy. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as a cold light flickered in his eyes. He initially thought that there was something fishy about Duan Yen and Fu Xing, but now it seemed like there was something fishy about Su Long as well. In the beginning, Su Long had hidden his cultivation level and harbored ulterior motives. Now, he wanted Lu Ming to deal with the head of the Feng family alone. He was obviously trying to use the head of the Feng family to deal with Lu Ming. The Feng family's patriarch naturally saw the problem between Lu Ming and the others. He took the opportunity to launch a flurry of attacks at Lu Ming. He still had a chance to kill Lu Ming. "Senior brothers, I can't hold on for much longer," Lu Ming shouted as he exchanged a palm strike with the Feng family's patriarch. He intentionally retreated towards Su Long and the others. Ding ling ling. The Feng family's patriarch chased after Lu Ming. The soul buster bell vibrated and an invisible fluctuation enveloped Su Long and the others. Damn it! Su Long and the others cursed in their hearts, but they had no choice but to defend themselves. "Senior brothers, thank you for your help," Lu Ming sneered, causing Su Long and the others' faces to turn ashen. Ding ling ling. The soul buster bells ringing made Su Long and the others pale. It was obvious that the spirit god had suffered heavy injuries. "Senior brother Su Long, we have to take him down as soon as possible," Duan Yen said. If this continued, their souls would suffer heavy injuries. Injuries to the physical body were easy to heal, but injuries to the soul were difficult to heal. The spiritual herbs that could heal the soul were shockingly expensive. "Go all out," Su Long said. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A dazzling sword ray shot out from Su Long's hand, attacking the Feng family's patriarch. Duan Yen and Fu Xing cooperated with Su Long, and at this time, Lu Ming deliberately wandered around the Feng family patriarch's side, occasionally launching an attack. "Junior brother Lu Ming, what are you doing? Why aren't you attacking with all your might and taking him down?" Su Long shouted. "That won't do. I was fighting alone just now, and my vitality was greatly damaged. I'm exhausted, and I need to recover slowly." Lu Ming spouted nonsense. Su Long's expression was ugly. He knew that Lu Ming was taking revenge on them for not making a move earlier. If Lu Ming didn't do anything, Su Long and the other two wouldn't be able to take down the Feng family patriarch. As time passed, their faces became paler and paler. It was obvious that their souls had suffered significant damage. This kind of soul injury would take at least a few years of recuperation. Damn it! Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing roared in their hearts. It was all Lu Ming's fault. If Lu Ming cooperated with them and went all out with Lu Ming's battle prowess, he would have taken down the Feng family's patriarch long ago. How could their souls be injured? In the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had passed. It's about time. Lu Ming's lips curved into a smile. The black feather wings suddenly appeared behind him, slashing horizontally. Pum! The black feather wings was a saint artifact. How could the Feng family patriarch block it? The black feather wings sent him flying, crashing to the ground and vomiting blood. Swish! In a flicker, Lu Ming appeared in front of the Feng family patriarch. He slapped 9 times on the Feng family patriarch's body, sealing the Feng family patriarch's true essence. The Feng family patriarch slumped weakly to the ground. Saint artifact! Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing's eyes were filled with dread. "Lu Ming, since you have a saint artifact, why didn't you use it earlier?" Duan Yen glared hatefully at Lu Ming as she shouted, "You think I can use a saint artifact whenever I want to? It consumes a lot of true essence. Just now I was fighting against the Feng family patriarch and exhausted a lot of my true essence. I just recovered a little bit. Lu Ming casually explained, but Lu Ming's eyes were bright and his breathing was steady. How could there be a lack of true essence? He was obviously lying, but they did not help Lu Ming just now. Thus, they couldn't refute Lu Ming's words. A cold light flickered in the depths of Su Long's eyes, followed by a faint smile. I believe that junior brother Lu Ming has used his full strength, now that the Feng family patriarch has been captured. Let's ask him why he wants to kill us. The few of them walked to the front of the Feng family patriarch. Old man, speak. Why do you want to kill us? If you don't tell the truth, I'll peel your skin and pull out your tendons. I'll make you beg for death. Duan Yen spoke viciously. Her eyes were filled with resentment. Her soul was injured by the Feng family patriarch, and it would take a few years for her to recover. She really wanted to peel his skin and pull out his tendons. I set everything up and lost everything. I'll speak. I'll tell you everything. The Feng family patriarch sighed, looking somewhat down and out. All of this started from an ancient ruin that I accidentally discovered. The Feng family patriarch sighed again. An ancient ruin? The eyes of Su Long, Duan Yen, and the others flickered. Normally, when it came to ancient ruins, there was a great chance that some treasure would appear, which was a great fortunate encounter for them. That's right. When I was in Six Void Mountain, I accidentally entered an ancient cave abode and obtained a cultivation method from it. It requires the blood and soul of others to cultivate, and my cultivation can advance by leaps and bounds. The Feng family patriarch said, No wonder your cultivation is different from the records. You've reached the 4th layer martial dominator realm. Su Long said. It was obvious that he believed the story. That's right, I've indeed practiced that martial art. Furthermore, according to the records, the younger the genius, the more useful their blood and soul would be, allowing their cultivation to improve at a faster rate. The Feng family patriarch said, Therefore, you set up a trap to lure the disciples of the Dragon God Valley to kill you and use their blood and soul to improve your cultivation. Su Long said, That's right. The Feng family patriarch nodded. How bold of you! Aren't you afraid that your whole clan will be wiped out? Duan Yen snapped. Ha ha ha, if my plan worked, my cultivation would improve greatly after killing you all. By then, I would have taken all the treasures in the ancient ruins and left the Tsang continent. The Yuanlu is so vast. How could the Dragon God Valley find us? What a pity. I was defeated by a 1st layer martial dominator realm kid. The Feng family patriarch burst out laughing. You're saying that there are treasures in the ancient ruins? Duan Yen grasped the Feng family patriarch's words, and her eyes flickered with greed. Su Long and Fu Xing reacted the same way. That's right. The Feng family patriarch nodded. Quick, bring us there. Duan Yen said anxiously. No, unless you promise to let me go, I won't bring you there. Without me, you won't be able to find the 6th Void Mountain. The Feng family patriarch said. Humph, if you don't, I'll kill you now. Duan Yan's eyes flickered coldly as a murderous intent encapsulated the Feng family patriarch's figure. Clang! Su Long pointed his sword at the Feng family patriarch's neck and said, Bring us there or you'll die now. If there's really an ancient ruin, I promise to let you go. You'll really let me go, unless you discover the blood oath. The Feng family patriarch said. Swoosh! Su Long's sword vibrated and a ray of sword chi shot out, slicing off one of the Feng family patriarch's ears. Nonsense! I'll do what I say. If you don't take it seriously, you'll die now. Chapter 1466. In the end, the Feng family patriarch had no choice but to nod and agree to bring Su Long's group to the ancient ruins. Let's go, you point the way. Su Long lifted the Feng family patriarch and said, To the east. The Feng family patriarch pointed out the direction. Lu Ming's group rose into the air and flew in the direction the Feng family patriarch pointed. They flew all the way to the depths of the Sixth Void Mountain, flying a distance of more than 100,000 miles. Finally, they landed in a remote canyon. They arrived in front of a cave in the depths of the canyon. This cave was indeed very hidden. If one had to search slowly, it would not be easy to find it. This ancient ruin is an ancient cave dwelling. It's very big inside. I estimate that it's the place of seclusion of a peerless expert. The Feng family patriarch said. Greed flashed in Su Long's eyes, saying, "You better be telling the truth. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Every word I say is true. That bell of mine was obtained from this cave dwelling," the Feng family patriarch said. These words made Su Long, Duanyen, Fuxing, and the rest believe him even more. That bell was indeed incomparably mysterious. It could injure one's soul. This kind of treasure was very difficult to buy in the outside world. Su Long took it without any courtesy on the way, not asking Lu Ming, the person who defeated the Feng family patriarch. Lu Ming did not say a word along the way, only following the group. "If you're worried, I can lead the way in first. Anyway, my cultivation is sealed. There's no way I can escape," the Feng family patriarch said again. "All right, you lead the way." Su Long put down the Feng family patriarch. The Feng family patriarch immediately strode into the cave. Su Long, Duanyen, and Fuxing hurriedly followed, as if afraid that the treasures inside would be taken away by others. Lu Ming walked at the back and followed in. Walking into the cave, there was a narrow passage. After going all the way in, about a few hundred meters later, they saw a faint light. Walking through the passage, the front suddenly opened up. It was a huge underground cave. On the surrounding walls, there were gems emitting a faint light. Arriving here, the Feng family patriarch's face revealed a sinister smile. He suddenly strode forward and knelt down. "This subordinate greets Elder Demon Soul." The Feng family patriarch kowtowed to a figure, a human figure. Lu Ming and the others were shocked. Only then did they realize that there was a figure sitting cross-legged in the middle of the underground cavern. It was an old man. He looked very, very old. There were only a few strands of white hair left on his head. The skin on his face was shriveled and wrinkles piled up like mountains. His entire body seemed to be devoid of flesh and blood. He looked like a skeleton sitting there. However, those eyes were eerily black as they stared at Lu Ming and the others, revealing a deep desire. There was actually someone else in the ancient cave dwelling. It was an old man who looked like a skeleton. You did well." The skeleton-like old man let out an ear-piercing and unpleasant laugh. "Thank you for your praise, Elder. This is what I should do," the head of the Feng family said with a flattering expression. "What happened?" Lu Ming and the others slowly retreated. Duanyen shouted loudly, "We've been tricked." Lu Ming said in a deep voice, "A trap." Duanyen was stunned. "Feng family patriarch. His purpose is probably to bring us here. He told us to go around him before he brought us here. It was all an act." Lu Ming said, "Ha ha ha, brat, you really are smart." "That's right, I was faking it. My goal was to bring you here and sacrifice you to Elder Devil Soul. If I could capture you and bring you here, that would be even better. If I couldn't capture you, then I could trick you here." The head of the Feng family laughed. It was fake. The ancient ruins were all fake. The head of the Feng family's purpose was to bring them here. "Look over there." Duanyen suddenly pointed behind the skeleton-like old man and said with a trembling voice. Lu Ming and the others looked over and were shocked. There was a pile of bones there. No, to be precise, it was a pile of dried corpses. It was just like after being devoured by Lu Ming's devouring power. "This person wants to use us to recover," Duanyen said with a trembling voice. At this point, how could they not guess the old man's purpose? They would be idiots if they didn't. It was obvious that this old man was injured and wanted to use them to recover. Who are you? We are disciples of the Dragon God Valley. If you kill us, the experts of the Dragon God Valley will not let you go. Duan Yen shouted. Hee, Dragon God Valley? 80,000 years ago, this old man killed countless of them. The skeleton-like old man sneered. His words made Su Long and the others feel like they had fallen into an ice cellar. 80,000 years ago, this old man had lived for at least 80,000 years. It was impossible for a martial emperor to live that long. In other words, this old man was a true Saint Realm expert. They actually ran into a true Saint Realm expert. Run. Duan Yen and Fu Xing turned around and ran. Die! Die! The skeleton-like old man bellowed. Then a shocking scene appeared. Duan Yen and Fu Xing's bodies stiffened abruptly, stopping in midair. Then both of them fell limply to the ground, no longer showing any signs of life. Both of them died after being bellowed by the skeleton-like old man. They didn't even see how the old man attacked. Duan Yen and Fu Xing didn't even have any injuries on their bodies. Su Long's body trembled violently. Cold sweat trickled down his back. Boom! At this time, a vast aura burst out from the skeleton-like old man's body. This aura was as deep as the sea, as if it was a world, as if it was the law of heaven and earth. True Saint Realm. The aura of a true Saint Realm expert. Plop! Su Long fell to his knees, kowtowing repeatedly as he begged, Senior, Senior, please spare my life. As long as Senior spares this wretched life of mine, this junior will go through water and tread on fire, become an ox or a horse, to repay Senior's kindness. Even Lu Ming was speechless. This Su Long was scared out of his wits after the skeleton-like old man released his aura, kneeling down and begging for mercy, without any dignity of a cultivator. Hee, if you want me to spare you, that's fine too. Relax your mind. I will engrave a restriction on your soul. You will obey my every command in the future, and I can spare you. The skeleton-like old man's aura quickly withdrew, and his shriveled voice continued to ring out. Su Long's face was completely pale, and his eyes were filled with unwillingness. If the old man engraved a restriction on his soul, then he would have to obey the old man for the rest of his life and become his slave. But if he didn't agree, the old man was a true Saint Realm expert. Didn't he see how Duan Yen and Fu Xing died with just a shout? What, you still need to hesitate? Let me tell you, I am an elder of the evil spirit sect. It is your great fortune to join my evil spirit sect. The skeleton-like old man sneered. What, you are an elder of the evil spirit sect? Chapter 14, 67. Su Long's face was filled with fear when he heard the skeletal old man's words. At this moment, he kowtowed without any hesitation and said loudly, This junior is willing to submit to Senior and the evil spirit sect. Evil spirit sect? Lu Ming frowned slightly. He had never heard of this faction. But why was Su Long so terrified when he heard this name? Su Long's fear came from the depths of his heart. It was not an act. This meant that Su Long was truly terrified when he heard the name Evil Spirit Sect. Lu Ming guessed that the Evil Spirit Sect might be a great sect outside the Tsang province. Hee, at least you know what's good for you. Relax your mind. The skeletal old man smiled coldly. A wisp of black light spread out from between his brows and shot into Su Kong's body, disappearing without a trace. Su Long immediately revealed a respectful expression towards the skeletal old man and said, This subordinate Su Long will definitely not hesitate to die for elder in the future. Kid, what about you? Relax your mind and submit to this old man. As long as you help this old man deceive more people, this old man will definitely reward you handsomely in the future. The skeletal old man said, He's willing to be your lackey, but I'm not interested. Lu Ming said calmly, What did you say? Kid, you're courting death. The skeletal old man shouted coldly. Hee hee, you don't have to scare me. In my opinion, you don't have much strength now, do you? Lu Ming stared at the skeletal old man and said. The skeletal old man's expression changed slightly. Kid, this old man is indeed injured, but this old man can easily deal with a mere martial emperor. Is that so? In my opinion, it's more like a fox borrowing the tiger's might. When we first came in, you killed Duan Yen and Su Long with a loud shout. That method should have directly destroyed their souls. Then, you deliberately released the aura of a saint stage cultivator to intimidate us. But if you really have the strength of a saint stage cultivator, why do you need to do this? You released your saint realm aura, too, deliberately. Moreover, you needed the Feng family's patriarch to lure us here. In my opinion, you shouldn't use that kind of method too much. Otherwise, your injuries will worsen. Also, you can't leave this place. You'll worsen your injuries. Am I right? Lu Ming slowly retreated as he explained. The skeletal old man's expression changed. Su Long's expression also changed. Damn it, this Lu Ming knew so much. Why didn't he say it earlier? Su Long roared in his heart. If Lu Ming had said so earlier, he would not have sought refuge with the skeletal elder. He might have been able to escape if he had risked his life. Little guy, you're very careful, but you still have to die. Su Long, kill him for me. The skeletal old man instructed. Su Long's expression changed. He had no confidence in dealing with Lu Ming. Elder, although this person's cultivation is weak, but... Kill him for me, kill him. Kill. The skeletal old man shouted coldly. Su Long screamed as if he was in endless pain. Elder, please spare my life. I will kill him now. Kill him. The skeletal old man said. Lu Ming, go to hell. At the next moment, Su Long pounced on Lu Ming with a ferocious look in his eyes. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A terrifying sword light was released from Su Long's long sword, aiming at Lu Ming's vital points. Bang, bang, bang. Lu Ming threw a few punches and broke Su Long's sword light. Lu Ming, what's the use of resisting? You are destined to die. Even if you escape back to the Divine Dragon Valley, Yin Feng will not let you off. Su Long roared. You are indeed sent by Yin Feng. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. This Su Long had hidden his cultivation level previously. When Lu Ming was fighting with the Feng family's head, he stood at the side and watched, wanting to kill with a borrowed knife. Lu Ming had been suspicious. Now it seemed that it was true. Originally, I wanted to find an opportunity to kill you while you were unprepared. Haha, but it's the same to kill you now. Su Long seemed to have gone crazy as he launched a torrential attack on Lu Ming. He had already surrendered to the evil spirit sect's elders. This matter must not be spread out. Otherwise, he would definitely die. Therefore, Lu Ming must die. Kill. At this moment, Lu Ming's third bloodline appeared, and a wave of energy surged into Lu Ming's body. Then, the chaotic domain erupted as he executed the hell-suppressing heaven art and punched at Su Long. Boom. This punch directly pierced through all of Su Long's defenses. The terrifying fist force bombarded Su Long's chest. Half of Su Long's body exploded and was sent flying into the distance. Apart from a few trump cards, this punch was almost Lu Ming's full strength. It was enough to kill a fourth-layer martial emperor expert. Su Long could not resist at all. After killing Su Long with a single move, Lu Ming's black wings appeared. With a flap, his figure rushed toward the entrance of the passage. Chaotic domain, it's actually the chaotic domain. I didn't expect a genius to comprehend the chaotic domain in the small Tsang continent. Kill, I must kill him. Shocking murderous intent flashed in the skeletal old man's eyes. Wisps of black light appeared between his eyebrows. Kill. The skeletal old man suddenly roared. A black ray instantly tore through the void and appeared behind Lu Ming, shooting toward Lu Ming. Its speed was unbelievably fast, as if it had teleported. Lu Ming was shocked. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. This ray of light directly penetrated the chaotic domain and shot into Lu Ming's body, rushing toward the spirit god. Dang! The ray of light landed on the spirit god. The jade armor on the spirit god emitted a brilliant glow, forming a barrier that blocked the black ray of light. Lu Ming's body shuddered slightly before he continued to rush toward the exit. A defensive artifact for the spirit god, such a rare artifact. Damn it, I can't let him escape. The skeletal old man let out a deep roar as his body emitted a cracking sound. It floated in the air like a skeleton that had been sitting there for tens of thousands of years. Elder, remove the seal on my cultivation. I'll help you to hunt down that kid. The patriarch of the Feng clan yelled. There's no point in keeping a piece of trash like you alive. Die. The skeletal old man's eyes flickered coldly as he opened his mouth and inhaled. A layer of black light encapsulated the patriarch of the Feng clan, who let out a cry of agony as his body shriveled at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into a dried corpse. Su Long's, Duanyan's, and Fu Xing's corpses also turned into dried corpses. The essence of their flesh and blood had been devoured by the old man. At that instant, his skin began to emit a faint glow. Kill! With a low roar, he turned into a ray of black light and rushed out of the cave, chasing after Lu Ming. Lu Ming flew out of the cave. The wind, settling beads, energy, flowed into him. He executed the wind origin spell and the black feather wings to fly away. However, he didn't fly far before a shocking sound of breaking wind came from behind him. A ray of black light was flying toward him at an extremely fast speed. This old man actually wants to kill me regardless of his injuries. Chapter 1468. Lu Ming spread his black wings, which were more than 10 meters wide. With a flap, Lu Ming turned into a black bolt of lightning. He tore through the void and traveled 100 miles in an instant. This was the Yuan continent. This speed was extremely shocking. However, Lu Ming realized that the black light behind him was even faster and was slowly approaching him. Air-frozen pearl. Lu Ming increased the energy of the air-frozen pearl, and his speed suddenly increased. He was barely able to keep up with the speed of the old man behind him. The two of them chased and fled. In the blink of an eye, they had left the 6 Void Mountain and were heading into the distance. The chase lasted for half a day. This brat, his speed is actually so fast. But if you want to maintain this speed, let's see how long you can last. Behind him, the skeletal old man sneered. True enough, at this moment, Lu Ming gradually slowed down. To maintain this speed and fly at full speed consumed too much true qi. Continuously using the wind origin skill and controlling the black wings consumed a lot of true qi. Now Lu Ming's true qi was running out. The skeletal old man and Lu Ming were getting closer and closer. Kid, even if I was severely injured 80,000 years ago and have yet to recover, it's still a piece of cake for me to deal with a puny first-layer martial royal like you. The skeletal old man's voice was unusually cold. Old man, do you really think you can catch up with me? Lu Ming's voice was still calm. Is that so? I'd like to see what other tricks you have. The skeletal old man sneered. Whoosh! Suddenly, a passage appeared in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming stepped into it. In the next moment, Lu Ming appeared thousands of miles away. Space-time territory. This is the space-time territory. The skeletal old man screamed in shock. That's right. Lu Ming had asked Bubble to help him open up the space-time territory. He appeared thousands of miles away in an instant and distanced himself from the skeletal old man. After distancing himself, Lu Ming waved his hand and a large pile of origin stones appeared in the air. Lu Ming's palm erupted with a powerful devouring power and devoured the origin stones. He then continued to fly while refining the origin stones to replenish his true chi. Don't even think about escaping. The skeletal old man roared, his sunken eye sockets flashing with raging flames. The two of them continued their chase. When the distance between the skeletal old man and Lu Ming narrowed, Lu Ming asked Bubble to help him open a space-time channel. The distance between the two of them increased once more. This happened several times. The skeletal old man flew into a rage, but he still couldn't catch up to Lu Ming. No, I can't let this continue. I'm heavily injured, and if this continues, it'll be detrimental to my recovery. I have to quickly take down this person. Moreover, this person actually has the help of the space-time spirit mouse. Didn't the space-time spirit mouse die in battle? Why did it appear again? Let's take advantage of the fact that the space-time spirit rat is still not strong enough to kill it. The skeletal old man's eyes flashed, and in the end he gritted his teeth and steeled his heart. Break! The skeletal old man roared. Then a ray of light split from his body and entered the space. It flashed and disappeared. However, the skeletal old man's aura had weakened a little. In front of him, Lu Ming was flying. Suddenly, the space in front of him fluctuated. A black light flashed and a figure appeared. Lu Ming's pupils shrank, and his body stopped abruptly. It was the skeletal old man. The skeletal old man actually appeared in front of Lu Ming. Boom! The skeletal old man emitted a powerful aura, locking onto Lu Ming. Kid, let's see where you can run to now. The skeletal old man sneered. Swoosh! Behind him, there was the sound of something breaking through the air. A black light flashed, and another skeletal old man appeared behind Lu Ming. Two black-robed old men surrounded Lu Ming. At this time, Lu Ming realized that the skeletal old man didn't have a lower body. Only his upper body was left. The skeletal old man was wearing a large black robe. He didn't notice it at all when he was in the cave. Kid, you're really not simple. You've comprehended the primal chaos domain and have a space-time spirit mouse as your companion. A person like you can't be allowed to grow. Today, Dai. The skeletal old man sneered. A black light suddenly shot out from between his eyebrows. The black light was like a divine sword, shooting towards Lu Ming at an incredible speed. With a thought, Lu Ming's primal chaos domain spread out and blocked in front of Lu Ming. Chi! The black light shot into the primal chaos domain and made a chi-chi sound. But in the end, the primal chaos domain weakened a part of its power. The remaining part shot into Lu Ming's body and rushed towards the spirit god. Dong! The black light struck the jade armor on the spiritual deity, causing it to vibrate. In the end, the jade armor blocked the black light, but a small part of its power still passed through the armor and hit the soul. Lu Ming felt his soul tremble, and a numbing itch came from it. What a strange attack. It directly attacks the soul. Fortunately, I have the jade armor, and my soul force is extremely powerful. That's why I can block it. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Kid, not only do you have a spirit, god, defensive treasure, but your soul force is also extremely powerful. Then you deserve to die. When the skeletal old man saw that his attack couldn't do anything to Lu Ming, the killing intent in his eyes became even stronger. Old man, you were seriously injured tens of thousands of years ago. You've been struggling at death's door for tens of thousands of years. You don't have much strength left. Why don't you find a place to heal? You're courting death. Dandan, who was on Lu Ming's other shoulder, shouted. Hee, even if this old man is seriously injured and has less than 100% of his strength left, killing you is more than enough. The old man sneered. His body emitted a layer of black light. His body began to become illusory, and the black light became brighter and brighter. Lu Ming's eyes were solemn as he focused 120% of his attention. Although the old man had been seriously injured a long time ago, he was still a genuine Saint Realm expert. No Saint Realm expert could be underestimated. Roar! The old man's body became more and more illusory. Finally, he turned into a huge, pitch-black Grim Reaper, holding a Grim Reaper scythe. Lu Ming's pupils shrank. He thought of the underworld child of the divine wilderness continent. The underworld child's bloodline was a Grim Reaper that could harm the soul. Die! The Grim Reaper's scythe slashed at Lu Ming. In front of him, the skeletal old man sneered. His eyes were filled with raging flames. 2 black divine swords shot out from his eyes, stabbing at Lu Ming. Lightning flame! Lu Ming shouted. The primal chaos domain turned into a sky full of lightning, forming a lightning domain. At the same time, the lightning domain burned with raging flames. The primal chaos domain could transform into tens of thousands of domains, except for some equally terrifying domains that could not be transformed. Lu Ming guessed that lightning and fire should be able to restrain the skeletal old man according to his cultivation technique. Sizzle, the Grim Reaper scythe, and the 2 black divine swords bombarded the lightning and fire domains, producing sizzling sounds. At the same time, black smoke rose. It worked. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Break for me. Chapter 1469. Whoosh! Both the Death God Scythe and the Black Divine Sword became more powerful. They broke through Lu Ming's lightning fire domain and slashed toward Lu Ming. Chirp, chirp! Bubble waved its claws and set up a space-time defense around Lu Ming. Although the skeletal old man's attack was mysterious, it was blocked by the space-time defense and its power was weakened. Then it went through the defense of the black feather wings and hit the spiritual deity. Dong! The jade armor shook violently. The powerful force went through the jade armor and hit Lu Ming's soul. Lu Ming's face changed and he was forced to retreat. The old man's attack was indeed terrifying. Even though Lu Ming had the jade armor and his soul was dozens of times stronger than an ordinary person, he still felt a tearing pain. If it was an ordinary person, even with the jade armor, their soul would have been destroyed. Still not dead. Lu Ming was shocked, but he did not know that the skeletal old man was even more shocked. The old man's soul attack could even destroy the soul of a LV-7 Marshal Royal. However, Lu Ming, who was only a LV-1 Marshal Royal, had blocked it. This was an attack that the old man had launched regardless of his injuries. It was very harmful to his severely injured body. Kill! I must kill him. Otherwise, if he spreads the news that I am still alive, it will be troublesome. The skeletal old man shouted in his heart. He ignored his injuries and launched another attack. The Death God Scythe slashed down again. The skeletal old man in front of him threw out a huge palm print toward Lu Ming. This time, not only did he launch a soul attack, but he also launched an ordinary attack. Leave this to me. Dandan flew out and opened its mouth. An illusory world flew out and attacked the huge palm print. At the same time, Bubble attacked, and many terrifying space-time blades slashed toward the old man. If you want to fight, let's fight to the death. Lu Ming's eyes flashed fiercely. He did not care about the Death God Scythe behind him. He flapped his wings and charged forward. He wanted to counterattack. His glabella shone and a shield appeared in front of him. It became as big as a mountain. Boom! The illusory world that Dandan spat out bore the brunt of the attack and collided with the gigantic palm print. The illusory world collapsed under the impact of the gigantic palm print. Thereafter, it faced the gigantic shield that Lu Ming had summoned. Dong! This shield was a saint weapon, indestructible. The palm print slammed into the shield, causing it to tremble and be sent flying. However, the palm print also disappeared. The palm print was neutralized. Bubble's space-time blade continued to slash at her opponent. Lu Ming's eyes brightened. It seemed his opponent was truly weak to the extreme. Other than his soul attacks being a bit powerful, his ordinary attacks weren't strong at all. Kill! Lu Ming roared and punched with both fists. More than a dozen fists blasted towards the skeletal old man along with Bubbles' space-time blade. The skeletal old man's expression changed. His entire body was covered in a pitch-black light, and he continuously sent out palm prints. Boom! 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 A violent explosion sounded. After a terrifying collision, the skeletal old man's body floated back. At the same time, the death god scythe also slashed Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming's soul to feel a tearing pain. However, Lu Ming gritted his teeth and withstood it. Kill! With a flap of his black wings, Lu Ming charged towards the skeletal old man in front of him. He stared at the skeletal old man, completely ignoring the death god scythe's attack behind him. Swish! The black wings were like two heavenly blades, slashing towards the skeletal old man. At the same time, a long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he swept it out. 13th strike! The emperor-level long spear vibrated 4 times in a row. For terrifying forces instantly erupted and blasted towards the skeletal old man. At the same time, Dandin and Bubbles' attacks also arrived, crushing their opponent at the same time. The skeletal old man roared and stretched out his bony claws, slapping out continuously. A terrifying collision erupted, and the force swept out in all directions. In the end, the skeletal old man was at a disadvantage and was sent flying. The black light on his body trembled for a while. Damn it, kid, I want you to die. The skeletal old man roared crazily, and the black light on his body burned like a flame. Behind him, the huge death god turned into a ray of light and merged into the skeletal old man's body. Boom! Following that, a terrifying aura spread out from the skeletal old man's body. It was like an immemorial divine mountain, pressing down on Lu Ming's body. This was the terrifying aura of a saint stage expert. Not good, this old man is going all out. Dandin exclaimed, Demonic soul blade kill. The skeletal old man roared, and the black light on his body condensed into a shocking giant blade, slashing towards Lu Ming. The giant blade slashed through the clouds in the sky, splitting them in half. This giant blade made Lu Ming feel a terrifying sense of danger. Buzz! The shield flew out and blocked in front of him. Then Dandin and Bubbles set up their defenses. Bam! 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 The giant blade slashed down and the shield flew out. Then Dandin and Bubbles' defenses were shattered. The giant blade then slashed towards Lu Ming. The black wings closed in front of him, and above them was shrouded in the chaotic domain. Clang! The giant blade slashed on the black wings, and the black wings shook violently. Lu Ming's body shook violently, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Then Lu Ming's entire body smashed towards the ground like a meteorite. Boom! Lu Ming smashed heavily on the ground, creating a large crater. Nest, what a powerful force! Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. He felt the blood in his body churning, and several bones in his body were broken. The skeletal old man flew toward Lu Ming, holding an illusionary giant blade in his hand. A powerful aura shrouded Lu Ming, and the flames in his eyes burned fiercely. Lu Ming was more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. The martial arts he practiced were shocking, and he had many treasures, including a few sacred weapons. He did not look like a first-layer martial dominator at all. At the same time, he had a space-time spirit mouse and a little tortoise with him. He could not recognize them, but they were definitely shocking. Together, Lu Ming's vitality was too strong. Even if the skeletal old man was severely injured, he could still kill an ordinary first-layer martial dominator easily. However, Lu Ming was still alive. He had already used some forbidden techniques, regardless of his injuries, but Lu Ming was still alive. While the skeletal old man was shocked, he was even more determined to kill Lu Ming. What should I do? If this continues, I will be exhausted to death by this old man. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Oh, right, the prison-suppressing boulder. Lu Ming's eyes flickered all of a sudden. It was obvious that the skeletal old man had practiced an unorthodox martial art. The prison-suppressing boulder was extremely effective against unorthodox and demonic martial arts. Lu Ming had almost forgotten about it. It was related to the fact that Lu Ming had refined his spiritual flesh after reaching the martial dominator realm. After Lu Ming had refined his spiritual flesh, he had subconsciously neglected the remaining 2 bloodlines. He had almost never used them. Chapter 1470. With a thought, the prison-suppressing steel floated out. Suppress. Lu Ming growled, and the prison-suppressing steel rapidly enlarged, suppressing the skeletal old man. The prison-suppressing steel. It's the prison-suppressing steel. Impossible. Wasn't the prison-suppressing steel shattered? The moment the skeletal old man saw the prison-suppressing steel, he let out a hysterical cry. His voice was filled with endless fear. Then he turned and ran. When the skeletal old man saw the prison-suppressing steel, he didn't even dare to make a move and directly ran. Boom! The prison-suppressing steel shook, and the word below emitted a dazzling light. The prison-suppressing steel became as tall as the sky and instantly appeared above the skeletal old man's head, suppressing him. Ah! The skeletal old man screamed in horror, and a terrifying black light spread out from his body. At this moment, the skeletal old man's aura was extremely strong. He waved his hand, and a terrifying saber light slashed at the prison-suppressing steel. This saber was many times more powerful than the saber that he had slashed at Lu Ming previously. Lu Ming's expression was grave. The skeletal old man's saber was truly going all out. However, the prison-suppressing steel emitted a terrifying aura that could suppress everything in the world. When it came crashing down, the saber light that the skeletal old man slashed out instantly collapsed. Boom! Then the prison-suppressing steel heavily pressed down on the skeletal old man's body. The skeletal old man screamed miserably, and his withered body directly exploded, turning into ashes. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. This was because he didn't activate the prison-suppressing steel at all. It was completely the prison-suppressing steel that killed the enemy automatically. Moreover, its power was shockingly strong, many times stronger than when Lu Ming activated it himself. The prison-suppressing steel could actually kill the enemy automatically and erupt with shocking power. Lu Ming found it unbelievable. Swoosh! At this moment, a black light flew out from the place where the skeletal old man's body exploded. Its speed was shockingly fast, as if it had shattered the void, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Brat, wait for the revenge of my evil spirit church. The skeletal old man's unpleasant voice came from afar. He's not dead yet. Lu Ming frowned. The skeletal old man's body was destroyed, but a wisp of his soul had escaped. Wang. The prison-suppressing steel trembled as if it was angry. Then it quickly shrank and flew back to Lu Ming's head, where it floated quietly. Lu Ming looked at the prison-suppressing steel curiously. It seemed that the prison-suppressing steel was not to be trifled with. Its origins were astonishing. Lu Ming had not displayed the true power of the prison-suppressing steel. What he had displayed was most likely just the tip of the iceberg. The prison-suppressing steel is actually attacking the enemy on its own. This has never happened before. Strange. Could it be that the other party has cultivated some evil arts? But I've encountered people who cultivated the evil arts, the demonic arts, and even the ghostly arts before, but none of them have ever caused such a phenomenon. Lu Ming frowned as he pondered. He felt that the prison-suppressing steel shouldn't have attacked him just because the other party had cultivated an evil art. There must be some other reason, but Lu Ming still didn't know what it was. Back in the Godly Ruins Continent Group, that big man from the Heavenly Divinity Sect said that the Heavenly Divinity Sect had a fragment of the prison-suppressing steel. It shouldn't be wrong. I must think of a way to get that fragment. Lu Ming thought to himself. However, the Heavenly Divinity Sect was extremely powerful. Some people even said that the Heavenly Divinity Sect's overall strength might be the strongest among the 13 top sects in the Tsang province. It would be extremely difficult to obtain the fragment of the prison-suppressing steel. Lu Ming suddenly looked in front of him at the place where the skeletal old man's body had been destroyed. The skeletal old man didn't leave anything behind, not even a storage ring. But now, Lu Ming saw a piece of black paper floating down. Lu Ming's heart moved, and he kept the prison-suppressing steel bloodline. His body moved, and he appeared beside the paper, grabbing it in his hand. A secret skill. Lu Ming glanced at it and found that it was a secret skill recorded on the paper. Let's leave this place first. Lu Ming kept the paper, and with a flap of his black wings, he tore through the void and left this place. The battle just now might have attracted the attention of the nearby experts. A few 100,000 li away, Lu Ming found a secluded cave and entered it. Sitting in the cave, Lu Ming waved his hand and summoned a pile of origin stones. His devouring force burst out and devoured the origin chi of the origin stones, refining them and recovering his strength. A few hours later, Lu Ming's true chi had fully recovered. Furthermore, his true chi was flowing smoothly and had reached the peak of its refinement. I'm about to have a breakthrough. Lu Ming's face was filled with joy. Previously at the Dragon God Valley, he had refined 3 royal domain fruits. Both his domain and cultivation had reached the peak first layer martial dominator realm, only a step away from the second layer martial dominator realm. After a period of time and the battle with the skeletal old man, his potential had been suppressed, and he was finally about to have a breakthrough. Lu Ming's palm glowed as a heavenly Dao stone appeared, which flew toward Lu Ming's head and floated above Lu Ming's head, emitting streams of heavenly Dao aura. Lu Ming began to cultivate in silence. A few days later, a powerful devouring force was emitted from Lu Ming's body. The origin chi of the heavens and earth surged toward Lu Ming and was devoured by Lu Ming. At the same time, Lu Ming took out a pile of intermediate origin stones to assist his cultivation. As the origin stones were devoured, Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed. Second layer, martial dominator realm. Lu Ming finally had a breakthrough. His chaotic domain was upgraded to the second layer martial dominator realm, while his cultivation had also reached the second layer martial dominator realm, greatly increasing his strength. However, Lu Ming did not stop cultivating. He continued to stabilize his cultivation. 3 days later, Lu Ming finally came to an end. His cultivation of the second layer martial dominator realm had thoroughly stabilized. Let's see what kind of secret technique the skeletal old man left behind. At this moment, Lu Ming took out the paper left behind by the skeletal old man and began to read it. The black paper was made of an unknown material. It was extremely tough and flexible. It felt as light as a feather when he held it in his hand. Lu Ming inserted his true chi into the paper. Lines of tiny words appeared on the paper. Secret soul attack technique, godly sword art. After a while, Lu Ming put down the paper with a hint of excitement in his eyes. What was written on this paper was a soul attack technique. According to what was written on it, cultivating this secret technique would allow one's soul to be tempered, and its strength would constantly increase. At the same time, one could use a special method to condense spiritual strength into a divine sword that could be used to attack another person's soul. Lu Ming could not help but recall the attack of the skeletal old man. The eyes of the skeletal old man had emitted a black glow, which was like a godly sword attacking one's soul. This was a priceless treasure. It was almost impossible to buy it in the outside world. It could refine one's soul and increase the strength of one's soul. It could also be used to attack one's soul. This was extremely suitable for Lu Ming. His soul had been refined by the world-refining calamity bell. It had been broken and then rebuilt. The strength of his soul was dozens of times stronger than an ordinary person's. If he cultivated the godly sword art, his soul attack would be extremely powerful. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.